Nice.
So I
I
think
remember.
we're live. This is the moment where it like
Yes,
we're
this
not
meeting
sure
is
that we're
being
live,
live
but
streamed.
yeah. So now it says okay. So now
Correct.
I should be able to give you a link. Should I give you the link in
Uh,
Insta or
Maybe it would be easier. Which channel are we on?
we're on the Garrett Dawn one, the Theosis one?
Okay, so not the radical on doing.
No, could go on that one, but it's kind of like non sequitur sometimes. I
Yeah,
can
if
type
you
the
send it to me, I can also, I'll put it out.
okay. Let me
Yeah.
go to
Okay,
Insta.
found it. You don't have to
Aha.
send it. It's easier to go
Aha,
and
okay. I,
share
s-
directly.
I sent it to you, Chris, just in case.
Nice.
Okay, so we are
It's
there.
progressing.
Looks good. And Posh, I was gonna welcome guys. Welcome to the channel. Uh just gonna have I just put as a title raucous talks about orthodoxy so we can see wherever that goes. I mean, this is our first time streaming the three of us. I think it should be fun. Uh so whatever we want to discuss. I have a few ideas in mind, but nothing stressful. At least not yet. Ultra super mega sir, man, that's evolved since before.
Yeah, I decided to because I had to download the thing, so it let me choose a new name. And I was like, "Oh, I'm using this."
Very nice.
I shared out the link
Oh,
on
great.
my end.
Sweet.
Fantastic.
Uh, Posh, I was in Tenya last night, which is nearby here. There's a Serbian church and then like Serbian little cultural festival or something. So they
Mm.
had all the uniforms and the dancing. I think I sent you something. Oh yeah, and
Yes, you
there's
did.
the giant. And it's funny they put up their backdrop and all this. I don't know how much I should talk about this on the channel, but
Probably not much.
yeah. So anyway, I'm not going to mention that part. So the other part, okay, censored. But no, but we sang Oro Sevilla or Villa Oro Sevilla.
Ora se vie kraj manastira.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And Gusta mi magla, which is also
Gusta mi magla padnala. Oh yeah, I know all the
yeah, super nice.
bangers.
And then the ladies sang Tamo Daleko.
Daleko.
Super nice stuff though, yeah.
Tamo
Uh,
Daleko was played at Nikola Tesla's funeral by his request.
oh wow.
Yeah, it's a song. Tamo Daleko means there, far away, and it's a song written by a Serbian soldier on Corfu during the First World War. So the Serbian army never officially surrendered. They retreated through Albania into Greece and settled on Corfu, the island of Corfu. From there was later on transferred to Thessaloniki, and that's where we have the Thessaloniki front, and then through what's called Macedonia. I'm not. I'm not opening another powder keg. And then over into Serbia proper. So it's a song about being far from home and how it feels. That's why he chose that song to be played on his funeral. It was an instrumental piece. I think it was just violins.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a
Nice.
beautiful song. Chris, I wanted to ask you, what is the state of Orthodoxy in South Africa? I don't even know like how did that was that Greek church or is there a church there?
Yes. So I looked into it obviously for my own personal reasons, and I actually found out that the Greek church here, this is what they said when in my research. Apparently, it's the first um, Greek Orthodox church in Africa. Apparently, so I don't know if they meant South Africa or Africa as a whole, because that would be quite huge, but it's also about over 100 years old, and apparently, because of its age, it's a very small church. It has been uplifted to Orthodox Cathedral, its designation, which is quite interesting, and that's One of the nice ones here concerning Eastern or Greek Orthodox, and then there's a Russian Orthodox, and I believe we even have an Ethiopian Orthodox church.
Mm-hmm.
That's in
Who are
my
not
vicinity.
canonical Orthodox.
Yes, it looks like a Rasta church, pretty much.
No, I mean, they're not in communion with us, for those who are
Yes,
confused, like Ethiopian, Eritrean, Coptic, they are
yes,
what we call Orientals.
yes.
Oriental Orthodox. We don't call them Orientals. I don't want
Yes,
that to be
yes.
misquoted.
Be great to be calling people Orientals again, but only if you are trying to.
Yeah,
I don't
it's like
understand why that's an ugly
Eritrean.
word. That seems like a nice word. That doesn't seem like a.
Oriental
Just means
literally
east,
means
really.
Eastern,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, I don't
Occidental is
understand.
Western, Oriental is Eastern.
There's Asiatics is a nice one.
Oh yeah, that's why in Britain, when they're recording crimes, you will see a lot of crimes under Asian,
Hmm.
and which you wouldn't see in America because they use Asian very technically, right? So
Uh-huh.
Oh,
it doesn't
yes.
pertain to East Asians; it pertains to South and Southeast Asia, the Southwest.
So doesn't you mean it doesn't apply to Russians or something?
It
Or
doesn't apply to no. When usually you would
Mm.
say Asian, mean Chinese, Korean, Japanese, maybe the southeastern Asians like
yeah.
Thai and such. But what they mean is India and Pakistani and all
Uh
sorts of Arabs. So you will see Asian crime rates are a lot higher in Britain than they are in the US.
oh, so in US they don't include India and stuff.
I think they call. I don't think that's what Asian would refer to in the
Uh-huh.
crime statistics. They have like maybe they have South Asian or something, which basically just means India.
Yes.
Right.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, that's interesting. But no, yeah, I didn't have too much trouble identifying. You can, I mean, when you see the Rasta flag painted outside the church, it's not hard to determine how canonical it is, you know?
so they really strayed, huh? I guess I still haven't really researched the what exactly is the heresy that keeps them out of communion.
Yeah, physitism is the
Mm.
biggest one. Like aesthetics are and like local traditions aren't that much of a problem, right? Different musical organization and such. That's not a problem. The problem is theology, and always has been theology.
Yeah.
And Ethiopia is potentially the first Christian state, the other one that might hold
Yes, in
the rank of
Africa.
first. But I think in general, it's not certain whether it's Ethiopia or Armenia that became
Okay.
officially Christian,
The
right?
first.
Rome
Okay.
came quite a bit later in comparison, and
Yeah.
that is because Ethiopia was there were a lot of Jews in Ethiopia,
Yes.
especially from the time after the Babylonian invasions, where they fled. A lot of them fled south. If you
But it
remember in
also, I
hmm?
mean, it makes sense if you look at the map, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
because, I mean, with Egypt being right there, if you look, well, they used to call it what, Kemet, but now
Kemet, yes.
Sudan, and then Ethiopia right there by that area. I mean, they're pretty much neighbors there, so it makes sense.
Right. You remember the Ethiopian eunuch in Acts,
Hmm.
Yes.
and
Yes.
he was reading from Isaiah because
Yes.
again, there's a very established place, so they were very quick to convert
Mm.
to Christianity because all the antecedents were well established.
Yes. Well, that's why people usually kind of have the false Ethiopia claims that they make with regards to Christianity, also just because of that connection in scripture, and then they
Mm-hmm.
kind of make up stories around that.
Yeah, a lot of
People,
people I know have been saying whenever they see some video or whatever, or talk to me about Orthodoxy, a lot of people will say, "Oh, Ethiopian church is the original church. That's the oldest one," or something like this.
right? Because they don't care about substance; they care about shiny things. Like what's
Yes.
very old. The claim that they have the Ark of the Covenant
Right.
The fact that they
Oldest
have,
Bible.
yes, with the Jubilees and Enoch in the canon and such. But that's not how theology works, I'm afraid. Right. So I think maybe we're straying a bit, but since there is no established topic, it's no problem. But if we disagree on the nature of Christ, it doesn't matter how old the church you worship in is, because we have a substantial difference. Can we see the chat from here?
Yeah, I don't know, not in the Zoom thing, but I just went to the chat. Yeah, we do have some folks there.
Yes, there
We've
are
got
some people in here.
Crispy.
Dr. Crispy
Hey, Crispy.
is talking about my penguins. You keep our penguins out of your dang mouth, Dr. Crispy. He has come to Cape Town, and he always proclaims, "I will take over with my penguin army." But you do not need to spread that propaganda. That might or might not be true, sir.
And there's Heidi Be Merry and Doomerang. So if you got, yeah, if you guys have anything you want us to touch on, that's fine. Besides penguins.
No, well, it's sometimes better if not having topics. I found sometimes that even if you sometimes have a designated topic, the conversation seems to drift, and then you kind of have this preconception to want to draw it back to the topic and cut off organic conversation. So it's sometimes even better to have open dialogue instead of having this strict format that you have to keep drawing back to.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I stay on topic like a hawk.
Posh never deviates.
Yes,
Yeah, no.
Yes,
And he's
indeed,
never
Posh.
verbose either. Oh, I heard Jim Bob make the greatest statement the other day. I'm not sure if he caught it when he said it, but he said, "I'm often verbose, redundant, too many words." But he didn't catch that he had done it. I was just like,
The irony, yeah, it's beautiful. The satire.
that was perfect.
Stream of consciousness. What are you talking about?
It
He
was
was
so good.
self-reflecting in actual time without even realizing it. He was in a flow state.
It was great.
Right. So I don't know. Since we don't have a particular topic, we can always talk politics. That's fun. No, I'm joking. Obviously.
Well, it was a worldview thing. I was listening to some interview with there's this Order of Nine Angles, some cult group, and they have ties with this Joshua Sutter and all these guys who were funded by FBI, CIA ties. Some subtle connections to that, like all the global satanic, whatever cult stuff, which where everything gets exposed, no one gets prosecuted, blah blah blah. But anyway, then I was listening about Order of Nine Angles because I kind of like, okay, I never really encountered that. I want to hear what is their worldview, what's going on, And the worldview was basically like what the fourth stage of nihilism that Father Seraphim Rose lays out in the book Nihilism, where the guy on the actual call made the comment, the Jake, the guy doing the interview, said, so if you guys take over everything, and then what would you promote then? What's the belief system? And he said, oh, well, then we would destroy that. And that was what the end stage of nihilism. And then later, the host kept trying to ask him, what do you guys believe? What is the essence of this? Yeah. And he said, oh, it's not about belief. And right away I was like, and he said, oh, it's about these principles and these practices. And then, so I left a comment like, I don't think they'll touch it, but it was like, well, you're believing that those practices and principles are something you should do for some reason.
Mm.
So it's always about belief, but the nihilists will try to deny the belief.
Yes, but it's sort of like with postmodernism. They establish all of this theory about how there's no grand narrative.
And hundreds of thousands of pages for this cult, like about all this stuff and why you're supposed to do it, but no grounding in anything. And this guy grew up Orthodox too, and still claimed to be a Christian. He's a Montenegrin, I believe.
Mm. Well, good thing then, because he's not going to do much. He's just going to lounge around.
But it seems to be kind of their general style in all forms, seems to be to stick to the vague.
Yes,
No definitions. The more the vague can be the answer instead of a direct answer. That seems to be what gets pushed, or
right.
trying to normalize that.
Remember, maybe either of you remember a long time ago when I used to stream, but how much I complain about sloganeering because, and I contrast slogans with proverbs, not the book of Proverbs, but proverbs as such, because a proverb is supposed to be a condensed piece of wisdom. It's supposed to be as short as possible, but contain as much as possible. Whereas a slogan is supposed to be as short as possible, but allow you to read into it as much as possible. So you're not supposed to draw out wisdom. You're supposed to read in your preconceptions, your notions, what you want to get out of things. And that is why.
Eisegesis.
Yes, you're not supposed to exegete, but eisegete. And that's their purpose. And I think that exists in many different forms. As you said, they want vagaries for the same reason.
Yes.
They don't want constraints. They don't want particularities because you're trying to appeal to masses and you're not promoting truth necessarily. You're promoting a program at best, but actually you just want to gather as many people, and they can disagree. Like with Freemasons, you can't be an atheist, you can be anything else, right? There has to be some God, right? And then you can be a Christian, you can be a Muslim, you can be a Jew. No, that's fine, as long as there is this thing that we can agree that is the grand architect, and you're good. Because when you start putting up, constraints, you're limiting the pool of people you get to gather money from.
Yeah, in Freemasonry, you could even say the self is the grand architect. You could say whatever you want, and they'll.
Well, yeah, as long as you're not some materialist, pure materialist. That's the only thing. I mean, I understand they're annoying
so
as
long
hell.
As you include some metaphysical claim, you're good to go.
Yeah. You have any metaphysics, any whatsoever? Yes, good. You're in. And then, right, obviously, it's a far more sinister organization than a lot of people.
No shirt, no shoes, no metaphysics.
But they're very they're sinister, but it's on the level of most members are their cash cows.
Yeah.
And then the ones who are actually picked out for being, potentially apt for higher ranks, they, although as far as I know, even that has really fallen apart. So you can get to the top order in relatively short time, whereas it used to take years and years and years. So I think everything is undergoing, plebeianization. It's just going through motions at this point. But that's the problem. The church, the Orthodox Church, will make you undergo catechesis. And at the end of that, do you want in and then accept all of these strictures and stuff? Yes, good. Let's get you baptized. No, then don't. Mm-hmm. But it's in Protestant churches, say the sinner's prayer, oh Jesus, right? And you're in. And you get to donate to Israel as much as you want. But which is the essence of Protestantism. But you see, they're going for mass appeal instead of, proper doctrine, proper teaching, and that requires a lot of, separating wheat and chaff.
Yes. Well, the thing is, as soon as the more parameters or the more kind of things you put in place that becomes a hindrance to people, I mean, that's usually how you assess if you're looking for quality or some kind of people that are actually true to whichever thing they're ascribing to. But if you just make it open plan, no prescriptions, just everybody join the party, it's a lot easier to do mass appeal. But then what is ultimately important, mass appeal or being correct?
Exactly. That's why Freemasons can only run by having, picking out a few of a bunch, the pick of the litter,
Yes,
and do it in secrecy, right? More or less secrecy.
right.
Whereas the church is open, right?
Yes,
In the sense we have a hierarchy, but you don't go and get secret knowledge when you become a bishop, because the bishop is just going to study the same things you are,
Yeah.
and hopefully better than the average person, right?
yes.
But they're going to be reading the same things that are available to anyone. It's not a mystery cult. It's not like
Yeah.
Yes.
leveling up in esoteric knowledge. No, you
Not the
can
I'm in the
read.
know
Hmm?
and I'm special because I'm in the know. That
Yes, yes.
now I will give you this revelation type of situation.
Yeah, it reminds me of like Saruman and Sauron, like
Yes.
trying to manipulate each other. I mean, Saruman trying to manipulate Sauron, and he's like, "Mate, I'm eternal, basically."
Wow,
I mean,
Posh, that's
technically,
funny.
so is Saruman.
You're just bringing up another South African here when I'm on panel. How rude. Just thought
Sauron.
of another South African. J.R. Tolkien.
Oh, he's
Cope
South African.
what cope?
Hey, where was he born? Where was he born and raised as a child?
Wow.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
I'm sure he'd be thrilled to not be considered English at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I mean,
uh,
at this point, I think you would probably divert back to being South African.
yeah, no, English, me, no. Have you
Yeah,
seen the place?
I mean, he fought in the war, and most of the old boys you speak to on that side of the planet are not too happy having given their lives to war and fighting for their great
No,
English nation
did you
to be
see
where it
the
is now.
interview recently? Some morning BBC program. They hosted World War, Second World War veteran,
Yes, the veteran.
and he said it wasn't worth it. And we're like,
It wasn't worth it,
"Oh,
yeah.
come on, we think it's worth it."
Yeah.
Great,
Well, I think he would be more correct on this, huh?
yeah, because they were swindled.
No.
Yes.
You got to die for curry.
Unfortunately,
Congratulations.
that is an interesting conversation whenever it comes to battles, because people like to want to jump to these wars and battles very quickly, but sometimes you realize most of those were pointless battles. They weren't of virtue or of necessity, but it was just a pointless thing with a bit of an agenda behind most of them.
Yeah.
The First World War was the first modern war, and it was really a clash of old tactics that are
Yes.
very, very outdated by that point for the types of weaponry available.
I mean, machine guns and cavalry in the same war, Posh. Good
Yeah,
lord.
yeah, but
Yeah.
because I mean, have you seen the tanks? That they were pretty awful.
Yeah.
Uh, but a machine gun is not awful. A machine gun is going to, but it goes right through a horse.
Yes.
So you have like the Seine, right? Sorry, the Seine. I pushed it to Paris immediately. The Somme, right? It was just slaughter. In Blackadder.
Yes.
Do you suggest we go out of the trenches and march slowly towards the enemy and get slaughtered in the first 2 minutes? Exactly. Because what we did the previous 18 times is the last thing they'd expect us to do this time.
That kind of sounds like what happened. Isn't that what was going on at Batina there at that crossing
Mm.
where there's a huge World War II monument?
Well, World War II is a completely different animal,
Yeah.
Yes.
considering things were already like worlds apart in terms of armored vehicles, which are a game changer.
Yeah.
The ability to transport quickly, um, but kind of, I suppose. But this was
Well, then,
just
and
going through the
you've got
trenches,
to
right?
remember,
No one was adapted. Hmm?
big thing World War II versus World War One is aeronautics, right? Planes. Planes was a
Yes.
big revelation in the Second World War. Bombs and planes.
they had them in the first one, and they showed they weren't exceptional by any means, but good enough to really do a number on a stationary navy. So, sort of like things are already outdated today. We're seeing like in Ukraine, like most things are now useless, that are standard for war, but they're also very expensive. Like, what's the point of a battle carrier when you have hypersonic missiles? There's no defense.
Yes.
So you're going to
Correct.
get this billions of dollars worth of equipment, and just one missile, if it messes up the runway, it's over. It's useless now. Might as well just have a big floating rock over there.
Yes.
So things move quickly, and we are seeing that throughout history. But yeah, it was a slaughter in the First World War. The Second World War was also slaughter, but things were much more adapted.
It becomes the same thing, right? In this new landscape, it's something that I talk about a lot, because a lot of people aren't blue collar that actually understand how things work, and this whole thing of the AI and all of this, the AI superiority. I just say, well, now, okay, you have this massive army of robots and all of this, fantastic. I just hit your data center. Now your whole army is useless.
Yeah,
There's no robots without power. There's no robots without the data center. So good luck. And these things will never be a point where energy and physical infrastructure is not required.
Yes, and AI just eats up energy at an alarming rate.
Yeah.
And drones as
your
well.
Drone armies. If I just smack your one data center out.
Also, AI is so overestimated in terms of how efficient it is.
Well, it's something I speak about a lot, is because there's this very big misconception that I find very interesting. AI gets seen as this
super fast human mind, basically.
Yes, this I am robot Terminator. You know, these highly efficient robots, and then but just from an engineering side, when you look at things like Boston Dynamics and these things, there's a guy either controlling or operating these things. They are set to do one thing really well, and people lose their minds over that, thinking that this applies to every single capacity of a human endeavor that this thing can now achieve at full capabilities. But that's not the case.
That's kind of why it seems sometimes think Elon is retarded.
Well,
I think he's a salesman.
If you're an actual engineer, they are retarded with a lot of things. And when you call this out, the first thing is, well, are you an engineer? Where's your degrees? Where's your things?
I am.
As a blue collar person, you don't need a very big understanding to know that these people are delusional and retarded. It's the same thing as now the approach being to shift these data centers into space. It's a delusional thing that they want to do this, and the amount of money they're going to invest in doing this it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yes, we are seeing also in Ukraine these drones, because drone warfare is now massive. Everything from like one that would, deliver armaments to like the suicide drones. But what happened was, okay, you have interference. So you interfere with the drones and they, get disoriented and collapse. Then they create these extraordinarily thin fiber optic cables. So now they're immune to, being dropped by frequencies. But then, you keep getting shifts in technologies. And then things get more expensive. But then when that gets outdated, now you spend massive amounts of money on. It's frightening how delusional people are. I listen to a lot of military analysts, and they say we're wasting so much money on trying to get some type of super weapon instead of doing what we know works, right? So tactics become outdated. You can go and like bomb the Houthis, right? People in sandals. What are you going to do against an actual peer army or a near peer army? Nothing.
Yes.
You're going to get humiliated. As I said, like your aircraft carrier, it already had problems with the Houthis, by the way. they lost 2 planes because they had to take evasive maneuvers. One
It's
plane just dropped from the carrier.
Posh, it's the same thing with. I mean, we're not gonna. I'm sure nobody wants to talk about that, but the situation happening
Yeah.
in the Middle East, it's a lot of people. If they know anything about a military background or know people in military, a very well trained group of 30 men will take down an entire city. Like
Yep.
people don't understand actually how things work. You just have 30 dudes that are really well trained with a plan. They will take a whole city, and
Yeah.
people
That
don't
that's
understand.
that's what we're seeing in Ukraine as well.
Yes,
Like large movements of armies, you're asking for barrages of artillery and drones to take them out. So you
yes,
have to deal with these armored, personnel carriers just dropping off small groups of people and they get to operate. That's the only thing you are left with because
yes,
now big armies, big formations are just asking to be targeted. And you don't so you still need large armies. It's just how you
yes,
utilize them. And
Yeah.
we're seeing Europe warmonger with nothing. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's super weird
pathetic.
what's going on now. And
it
I
is,
don't
it
know
is.
if Israel is trying to warmonger, uh,
No,
but I don't
never.
know that they want that
No.
if it really comes down to it. But there's I was studying about the history of psychiatry uh, and all the and Vietnam specifically, how you did they used Vietnam as a big like the stuff some of the stuff Jay talks about like Tavistock and Frankfurt School
Mhm.
and then Project Phoenix or in Vietnam where they basically created serial killer phenomenon and brought a bunch of
Mhm.
these guys back and all those guys are connected. If you read that and most of the time sometimes they're patsies, sometimes they are killers, but most of the time there was a group behind it on all these
Of
different
course,
times,
of
all these different
course.
things. And part of the reason for letting them just free and kill whoever they want, for a number of different reasons, but some for money, some for films, which supposedly don't exist, and some for other reasons. But this concept called trauma contagion, which sort of
Mhm.
they identified in PTSD, shell shock people in World War One, that Tavistock supposedly was studying, and then this idea of trauma contagion, but they figured out ways to spread it. Well, I mean, if there's a serial killer in your city, okay, you're going to feel that, especially if it's pretty regular or a bunch of them in your region.
Yeah.
But then they figured out ways to kind of spread that even through fiction and through social media and through online and stuff. So, like, I don't know how much they need full on all out war. Maybe we'll see that again on like a global
I
thing,
I'm
and I
not
don't
so
know.
sure. So you started by saying I don't know if Israel is warmongering. It kind of has stepped back a bit, turned it down a bit because they didn't really do well with Iran. I almost said nuking them, but no, releasing their ordinances on them in the
Yeah.
12-day
Mm,
war.
yes,
Because they just didn't report the amount of damage that was done. It was immense, and it was not the best that Iran had.
Mhm.
no,
That is a perfect example of not investing in a super weapon,
Yeah.
but investing in actual weaponry you can use. So, okay,
Yeah.
you can develop a nuke and you will never use it. Obviously, it's deterrence. I'm fully aware of that. But you might be cut off if you're trying to develop it.
Yeah.
Like, like even your
yes,
allies might freak out a bit,
Yeah.
let
yes,
alone the enemy. But then you develop regular missiles and you use them. So Israel is contained as compared to what it was prior to the 12-day war. But as far as what you're talking about, like trauma based mind control in general, right? Always trying to create trauma somehow. Is there any more perfect example than The Handmaid's Tale?
mm,
It is such a stupid nonsense thing, but
yes,
it's so reflexive, right? They don't even think about saying, "Oh, we're living in the Handmaid's Tale. We're living in the Handmaid's Tale." It's always something like that, and I don't think the author of the books meant it to be that. I haven't checked too much into it. It could have just been, hey, this is doing pretty well. Let's make a screen adaptation of it, and then push in as much of the traumatizing stuff as possible. But it's so much psychological warfare. I talk about again the Russia thing. The Russians are both incredibly incompetent and they have to use shovels and salvage chips from old refrigerators. And at the same time, if we don't stop them now, they'll be in Paris in a week. Right. So it's both at once, and no one cares. No one sits like, oh, wait, that's kind of mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why they keep getting made fun of. They say, oh, well, Russians using tactical shovels now. They ran out of missiles, as far as we were told. They ran out of missiles 2 years ago.
Yeah. They keep
and yet
out, yeah.
they managed to throw hundreds a day. That doesn't seem to hold up, but it doesn't matter. The narrative is the important.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I always say. At the end of the day, right or wrong doesn't even in today's landscape. None of that matters. The main thing you always got to look at is optics,
Yes.
and what the perception around the information will be. Not whether it's correct or wrong. It's all about the optics and how it will.
Yeah.
Be digested.
What it causes,
Yes.
what you propagating it will have in
Yes.
effect, right? So it doesn't matter how much you lie, as long as we do it. It gets the job done, right?
Yeah,
That's
well,
a
if
very
it achieves
communist
the
thing,
desired
right?
outcome, right?
Yes, it's a very communist thing, right? Truth
Yeah.
doesn't matter. What matters is getting the revolution. And
Yes.
you can be hyper-capitalist in your approach to getting the revolution. What's important is getting it somehow,
Yes.
right? So a lot of people in the British government, like a lot of them belong to like Maoist, or Starmer was a Pabloist back in school. And I said, yes, but you see, they're not communists. They don't, promote state ownership of means of production, distribution, and exchange of goods and services. Yes, because they realize the methodology is faulty. The goal is there, but they realized, okay, so you can't just have a revolution, like take over the barracks and the post offices and the government buildings. That doesn't work too well. Then you have the idea of the long march through the institutions. That worked a lot better. And then you have even more perfidious approaches where people will just say, Peter Hitchens talks about how there was no more government more radical than Tony Blair's government in British history. But the left-wingers still will say he's blue Labour, which is for those not acquainted with British politics, they're basically calling him their conservative left-wing. Blue is the Tories, the conservative parties.
Yes.
So sort of like you have the Reagan Democrats, right? That's sort of the inverse, but that's what you get. He destroyed the traditional British system, completely annihilated, and he is still perceived as a moderate. And he's far more Starmer as well. They're far more radical than not Clark's, not Jeremy Clarkson, Jeremy Corbyn.
This kind of illustrates that the lack of grounded worldview behind the modern politics.
You gave us a good off run back into Orthodoxy.
No, we can keep going with politics. I was thinking of Colonel Michael Aquino. Do you ever hear about this guy? You know about him?
Yeah.
You know about him, Chris?
No.
I'll show you. I'll share a photo here. Let me get him back on the screen 1 second. And he's so he was like a decorated colonel in the U.S. military, and got accused a bunch of times by a bunch of kids at the Presidio in San Francisco and a bunch of other places of all kinds of heinous things. And he was exonerated, of course, because the people in high places were all tied up in that same stuff. No pun intended. And let's see. Let's have a look at him first. And he was split off from the original Church of Satan because they were not theological, supposedly, or not dark enough for him. Here's the image of
Too
him.
many fedoras.
Let's go like this. Can you see it? Can you see him there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, look at those eyebrows. Come on.
Those eyebrows.
I was going to say he could give Brezhnev a run for his money.
What is going
That's
on here, dude?
glorious. I need to do that with my eyebrows when I do my
Yeah.
So, giving you ideas.
Do you think he means it like, oh, look, I have devil horns?
I think he does. Yeah.
I think that's probably some gay reasoning behind.
Yeah. And he was so he was accused of all kinds of stuff, and he wrote a book called From Psyop to Mind War or something like this. Let me see if I have that correct. From Psyop to Mind War. So he was like doing, yeah, it's on the Internet Archive for anyone who wants to read it. One of the premises is that the advantage of mind war is that it conducts wars in non-lethal, non-injurious, and non-destructive ways. There's some virtue sounding aspect to that, but it depends for what purpose and what's happening to these people that you're convincing of things. And if, he's testing it on kids at the Presidio daycare. One example was 56 or some huge number of the kids tested positive for like chlamydia. And then he said, oh, well, those are inconclusive tests. You have to go check the samples. And they went to check the samples and all the samples were gone. This kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, what? You've never misplaced something in your life?
There are no
perfect.
Samples. There were no samples. Yeah. It's all
These are not the
okay.
samples you look.
Yeah.
There you go, Star Wars reference. See, I can be hip.
Oh, here we go.
But so like US has this guy running, psychological operations and engineering them and things like this, and being accused of all that kind of stuff. But there's no worldview that says he shouldn't be in the US military. They supported him as a Satanist, Oh, no, it's fine. Be a dark Satan worshiper. He even stated
they probably thought of him as a bit, he's a bit bland, but okay, come, let's say he's
a good soldier. He's a good soldier. So
no, I'm saying he wasn't, he's mild, but okay, we'll accept as Satanist, I guess, he can level up later on into proper American military brass level.
What were you starting to say there, Chris?
Oh, no. It was just, I was laughing at Posh's joke with the, the samples, because it's funny that he even goes, these are not the samples you're looking for, because it's usually the question is, oh, where are the samples? It's what samples?
Yeah.
Samples. That's the whole thing. And I can't believe how difficult it is to talk to people about these things, because they always have this grand narrative, I think, in America from the Cold War. In different places, it's different, time periods you have to be somewhat stuck in. But basically, we're saving the world from the commies, right, from the Red Menace. So whatever you need to do to stop us from getting gulagged, just go ahead and do psyops. But then you have so many things that have been declassified.
Yeah.
And people are still like, oh yeah, but that was back in the day. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Tuskegee and stuff like that. They intentionally infected their own people. So they didn't even go. Sorry, I have to answer my phone.
Oh, all right.
But it's very interesting. It's also this whole narrative that also lately gets passed along a lot when you ask questions about these things and say, it could just possibly be a bit of lying at a large scale, and then people go, no, that would never be able to happen. And what one good thing about the 2020s is that you ask people what happened there. You say we can't just have one globalized lie or something being spread that could be false in some manner, and then for some reason that now people seem to be more awake to these kind of things happening.
I heard it summed up as, you made people unable to do anything but sit home and research stuff. How do you think that was going to work out?
Yes, but it's with everything, right? It's one of the fundamental things. Like, for me and Jim Bob with the science stuff, when we ask questions about things like NASA or these kind of things, it ultimately becomes when you say, well, these things aren't scientific, because even something simple like if we say, well, the radiation levels on the Van Allen radiation belt, we get given a number, but there's no way to verify whether the number is correct because there's only one source of gathering the information. It cannot be independently verified, which this is not how science operates. And it seems to be very convenient that it works that way. Not even talking about the fact that when we look at what are the things with the most spending being war, and then the second most that seems very friendly is space, because, well, at least people aren't dying on that one, but it seems to be the same amount of money going towards it. And then when you just ask the question, could this just be a money thing or is this a science thing? Then apparently
Yeah.
you being an asshole for asking these questions.
Now,
Yeah,
these people
Seems to be
seem to
very
really believe
convenient.
that stuff, though, right? The scientists, they seem to believe it. I mean, they see like when they say the 400 million billion numbers and stuff,
Yes.
they seem to actually believe it, right? Like the science guys who are
well,
doing
there,
these research.
Well, it's not about belief. It's about they just consent to it being correct, or
Yeah.
adopt it as being correct. They just don't ask further questions.
Just kind of
I
pick
mean,
up
in
from where
that
the
in
last
that
guy left
sense,
off. Yeah.
belief would entail that some kind of moral claim to the data. I think they just take it on face value and don't actually assess it to the point of, is my belief steadfast in the data. They just take it as it being correct. It's not really a case of belief. It's just no thought into it.
yeah, so it's like dogma, but it's shame based, right? You're not one of
Yes.
these people who deny X, Y, or Z. By the way,
Yeah, I know.
I
I
found out
know.
that the tinfoil thing, which is made from aluminium.
Ooh.
Yes. Aluminium.
Was that the
Thank you,
pronunciation
Posh.
in South Africa
Thank
too?
you, Posh. Yes, it's aluminium. Me and my British brother, my
Uh,
co-host, we fight these American with their
aluminum.
poor
It's so much
pronunciation.
simpler. So much
See,
simpler.
I call him French. He gets offended. He calls me British, which is far worse.
No, not you, Posh. My
and
my my co-host on my channel.
but I'm happy to join the fight. But yeah,
I
it's
should call you
America who's.
British actually now. Now I know your weakness.
Yeah, I'm also a second-hand Irish nationalist. It doesn't help.
Oh, that's terrible.
But
You half leprechaun.
but
Irish nationalism is something that's kind of decent, you know? It's not
Shane and
terrible.
I did a stream on it a couple of weeks ago on the Baron and the Redneck, which we overutilized. we maintained a schedule for about 4 weeks or something. And then it all fell apart again. So we fell apart individually and collectively. But where was I? Aluminium, yes. So tinfoil
Yes.
hats. So apparently it was some fellow who got a chip in his brain. This was in the 70s or the 80s, so
Yes.
quite a long time ago.
With the MK Ultra stuff, right?
Yes, and he figured out if he can put, I think he put like a rubbish bin over his head or something,
Yes.
but then got down to the
Ah,
tinfoil, that it helped reduce the waves because he was in immense pain. So it turns out that calling you a tinfoil hatter is equating you to a guy who was mutilated by the government and found a way to defend himself somewhat.
and it
Yes.
worked. Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But
That's brilliant, isn't it?
but it's
Yeah, it's
very
crazy.
entertaining. You
If you
brought
dig
up a
it,
very good. Sorry, God,
no,
go
no,
on,
no, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Garrett. No, Posh brought up something. It just shows also a lack of understanding basic chemicals and metallurgy. Tin is a metal on its own. Aluminium
Yeah,
and tin
I know.
are not the same things.
Yeah, that's why in a lot of pencils, in a lot of languages, derive their
Lead.
names from lead.
Yes, lead, but it's
Ah,
carbon.
Yes, now it's graphite.
Or, well, graphite, yes.
So
Mm.
you have a plumber actually comes from plumbium, which means lead,
Mm.
which must be very
Lead pipes.
which must be
Thank you,
very
Rome, for that
encouraging.
one.
Yeah, lead pipes. That can't be a problem, can it? But yeah, it's weird, but that's how etymology works. A lot of times it
Mm.
just, I mean, it used to be called the lead pencil, so at
Yes.
least you drop the lead part. But here we say Olovka, and Olovo is lead, so same thing.
Yes.
Oh,
Because people would, sort of lick it and again, great
Yes.
job, but then it would write. But that's, you can't blame them. They think,
Yeah.
oh, what's poison is this
No, but
metal
it's
thing.
just funny because if you actually understand metals, you would know that firstly, tin is a basic metal. The aluminium that goes around your head, well, that serves one purpose, anti-magnetism. But if it was actually for radiation or signals, it would have to be lead. So
Yeah.
it's funny how it's just completely incorrect, depending on
Mhm.
what the actual mechanics is behind what you're trying to do.
Yeah, but that's fun. It's, it's strange that you think people are waking up. I think of people. There's two ends of a spectrum. There's a
Yes.
Peter Hitchens spectrum, the totally black doom pilled, all the
mm.
way to the
Yes.
Ron Paul spectrum, because for, I don't know, 50 years he's been talking about how the people are waking up to the cause of liberty. And it keeps getting worse every time. So
The New
there's
Agers are always saying that too. Everyone's waking up. The consciousness
yeah,
is about to happen now, and it's every week something's going to happen, or it
It
did
seems to me
happen.
that people are going to bed and starting to ignore all the nonsense going on and going, yeah, we want to go back to the old ways.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, it seems to be more people are advocating for Old Testament than technocracy and Troonsville type of
Yeah.
situations.
Well, it's very dispiriting on how many levels things aren't working, right? Which again can be good for orthodoxy, but we would hope it would work in different ways, in a different way where people actually converted for preaching and theology and stuff rather than being completely dispirited. But as we know from the Bible itself, until you're not brought down low, you tend to feel rather good about yourself. And it doesn't work. So I think the rise of orthodoxy, especially in the US, can be attributed to the fact that, well, you have this very powerful and sophisticated propaganda network, and it's becoming unsustainable
Yes.
because so many things are not working as intended or as purported. So it's it wakes people up, it disillusions people. I mean, right now what you're getting is everyone was hyped when Trump got elected because, oh, we're releasing the files for both Epstein and JFK, and they're going to get them make America healthy again. So they're going to go after the corporations that are in charge of the food industry and poisoning everyone, and they're going to stop the foreign wars.
Yeah.
Well,
They might
I will grant
start
him
a
this,
few
Posh.
wins. Hmm?
Posh, I will grant him this because I was one of the few that said I don't think people understand the significance with what he did with the with Rwanda and some of these wars that he
Hmm?
did stop. I mean, the Rwanda one. I mean, the amount of millions of people killed in that one. What, over 20 years? I mean, that
Yeah.
was very significant. I mean, I say this a lot when I do any African news from my side because there's not really anybody doing it if it wasn't for this racist white man over here in South
Hmm.
Africa talking about it's not cool that nobody gives a shit about Africans dying. But it seems to it, and I've even said this to the Americans. I understand why they wouldn't care because it's not their problem, and I even understand not from a Christian perspective. I understand
Yeah.
this from a non-secular. I'm
Geopolitical.
a
Uh-huh.
normal American. Why should I care? I mean, unless it's for moral or Christian reasons, I can't really give you a good answer for that if you're not religious. But with what the significance of that was quite important. So with him, I'm on his side with he has been stopping wars. People didn't even know about the thing that happened with Thailand and Cambodia wanting to wage war on each other. I mean, they were shooting each other over temples. He stopped that. A lot of those things were
He said
good.
he stopped a war between Serbia and Kosovo, and I have no idea what that's about.
Yeah.
So
But
about the Rwanda thing,
the
I don't think
Taiwan and
India,
it
Pakistan.
was at Sri Lanka, Pakistan. Yeah, that was a big one. The Taiwan was big. It was going to kick off. I know people that side of the world. So yeah, no, these things were good that he had done. And I mean, he's still in his first year. So I
Yeah,
have to glaze him a little bit for that.
I agree. I think he's much better than any alternative,
Yes.
but so many failures. And
Mm.
obviously, the Epstein files was fiasco, complete disaster. Like flip flopping.
Yes.
We'll release the files. What files? Oh, they're a hoax. Oh, they don't
Yeah.
exist. Oh, we will
Optics.
release them. Right.
Optics. It made him look it he was this, this machine, this monster, this mechanized force for good, and then everybody saw him bleed with that one, and that's
Oh
the
yeah.
problem.
And
Yeah.
again, me and Shane did a stream on it, and I said I don't think they're getting released because the consequences of releasing them will be so dire. It could literally crash the world economy because all
Posh,
of
but
these
this is a
powerful people are going to get implicated. Hmm?
this becomes a very interesting religious question, because I've kind of mulled this over. If you run this through the kind of what would be the moral thing to do, right? So now you're facing these two questions of, let's say there is involvement of people at levels at which it can very adversely affect millions of people's lives very negatively.
I would say billions.
Yeah, and
Because if the
now
world economy crashes, it's not going to be nice, and
no.
it's not going to be nice for little children either, especially. I would say.
But you see, now the question is, or is the justice for the victims of that situation
Yeah,
more important?
that's
It
that's
becomes very
literally what we
difficult
were
because it
talking about.
becomes basically a trolley cart problem,
Yeah,
if we look at
exactly.
it that way.
And on the stream, we talked about that, and I said, I on a moral level, I want them released and want everyone involved, just
Yes,
lined up against the wall. But
yes,
people are vastly underestimating how bad the consequences of releasing
it
it
could
could be.
be. Yes,
Right. So I
what
understand.
that
Oh, they
entails.
won't release it because it's Mossad and Israel has to be protected. I think it's far bigger than that.
I think it's, yeah,
I mean, remember when uh, Musk like went on Joe Rogan years ago and like took a took a smoke of a I want to say marijuana cigarette. God damn,
Oh yeah,
a
yeah, joints,
blunt.
yeah,
I know blunt.
a
or blunts, yeah,
joint.
yeah,
Come on,
Yeah,
Posh, I
joint.
thought you were
Yes.
hip. A joint or a spliff,
or
brother.
spliff, yeah,
Spliff.
yeah.
Yeah, I know that one.
A sploofy, bro.
Well, now you're getting you're getting a bit too
Listen,
extreme for me. Uh, and then like if the stock rating for Tesla dropped or something.
yes.
So, what do you think would
Oh,
happen if
optics,
CEOs
right?
start going down for
Yes, for
pedophilia?
that. And then
Right?
it would entail that their next ups in that similar companies were also aware of the situation. The trickle down effects of it is way more than, let's
Oh
say,
god.
10 people that did the crime. You have to look at that, who is surrounding the 10 people, and the ripple effects of that is,
Yeah.
I
And
don't think you can
and
calculate dependent on who's involved. There could be a massive calculation to that.
right, because it's not about, oh, we release the files, here they are, the people involved, they get a trial and they get sent to prison. Yippee-ki-yay. No. And I said on that stream, these people are cancerous, like the people leading
Yes,
these
no,
operations.
100%, and evil.
And the really deadly cancers develop in places where they become inoperable because removing them would
Yes.
kill the person.
Yeah.
Like the type of pancreatic cancer you get, where if you
That's
operate, you
interesting.
would have to cut major blood vessels and you would just die.
Yes,
Sad.
And that's what they do if they're competent.
Yes.
And they're I know there are
Well, it
conspiracy
makes
theorists who say, well, people in charge don't seem to be as competent as I think they're very competent, but they know how to pretend to be like just airheads, like let them eat cake. Meanwhile, they're not going to let you eat batter,
yeah.
let alone cake.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually funny because your armor ultimately, your basic bodyguard becomes the fact that everybody is reliant on you. You become
Mhm.
irreplaceable. You become the to take me on is slicing your own neck.
Yeah,
And then
that's
that's a
what they do.
very advantageous position to be in.
Exactly, and that's why the system keeps degenerating, because to improve it, there is no painless procedure
Yeah,
to
yeah.
fix the system. That's what they keep doing. That's why immigration is also a huge thing. So, oh no, people aren't having enough babies. Don't forget. Let's forget. The decades of propaganda to make them not have babies. Now we have to bring in the immigrants, right? So you bring in the immigrants, and people
One of
now
the worst
have even.
arguments.
Oh, I know, but now
Let's
you
out.
have.
It's like, what do you do about a problem? We'll just outsource it. I'm like, this is such a terrible fucking answer. Oh
No,
my
no, no.
god.
It's not even outsourcing it. It makes it actively worse and self-worsening, because we know these immigrants also stop having children later on. Like the first generation from these like less
Yes.
developed countries, they have that mentality, but their
It's
children don't.
saying it's saying
They
we are
Really?
in a we
uh,
in a containment area with a virus. What's the solution? We'll bring in healthy people into the infected
yes, exactly,
environment.
exactly. That's a great way to put it. But
Yes.
do you know what also happens? Because we all know the greatest possible benefit of mass immigration:
Oh yes.
street
Cheap
food.
labor.
No, street food. And I listened to reports that Indian immigrants have to bring in chefs from India, because they go there and they know how to make this stuff and
Oh.
they do pretty well, right, in Britain.
Yes.
But their children don't want to be cooks.
Yes.
They want to go and take like regular jobs, like some
Well,
manager
even them,
or
isn't
lawyer.
the kind of racist joke that they only allow to be engineers and doctors, whether it's Asians or Indians?
Yeah, but
That's what
but
the
but that
parents say,
means
right?
you get the first generation who can make authentic
Yeah,
street
yeah.
food,
Yes.
but then they have to import other authentic. And I'm not even saying they're pretending this is the case. I think it legitimately is the case, because their children grow up in Britain, so they're not like, oh no, I'm going to mix batter
I'm gonna
with my
carry on
feet.
doing the
Uh,
race, the thing I'm stereotyped for.
yeah,
What is that?
Like cooking Indian food, it's like,
Ah,
oh, so I need to do the thing that my parents do. So and we do generally know with psychology, kids sometimes do not want to follow the footsteps of their parents, right?
no.
especially
It's
if their
rare.
parents end up being successful there, and those are
Yeah.
probably the ones who make the best food. So they end up
Yes.
successful. They get to send them to good schools.
Oof.
So why would they return to the kitchen?
Good
Yes.
schools. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's the mind war again.
Yeah,
Like what?
that's collapsing
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
It
I
was a
mean,
different thing in the past. Yeah.
absolutely. Peter Hitchens has a great book on the destruction of the British education system by modeling it more after the American system. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, so again, the narrative doesn't exist anymore. It's just about trying to shame people. And one of the funniest things is trying to shame the Irish for colonialism.
Right. Like what did they do?
Yeah, they were part of colonialism on the opposite side, on the
Yeah.
colonized side,
Yeah.
right? Doesn't matter. Like, you're supposed to feel bad because you have the same skin color as the people who actually oppressed you, right? The English. So you have to feel bad, even though you were the oppressed. That doesn't work that well on the public in Ireland, which is why they are rather
Yeah,
rowdy.
but it's the problem. It's whether it's reparations or oppression. We're just doing a societal infinite regress, which is
Yeah.
just a pointless game at this point.
Yeah, but well, there's nothing solid to fall back on. Again, we started with epistemology on this stream, went to a bunch of places, but it always comes back here.
Yeah.
Always comes back to there is no solid thing. I think, and I've talked about this, I think one of the biggest problems is that people don't realize that the fight between the left and the right, especially in America, but it applies a lot to Europe, is a fight between modernists and postmodernists.
Yes.
Right. So when they think of conservatism, they think of like this abstract construct called conservatism. They take snapshots from like history and they say, oh, this is traditional Western thinking. I mean, there's no such thing as Western thinking per se, because guess what? Communism isn't from the East. It's from France and Germany. So that West East becomes like NATO versus the Warsaw Pact. Yes. But we still keep the East West thing, just because it allows us to be more vague. But they have nothing solid, because that's not how it works. Like postmodernism killed modernism because it's so shallow, right? And I keep telling people, okay, I'm traditional. I think cooking is like a woman's job. Okay, what do you think about grilling food?
Yes.
No, that's manly. but that's how postmodernism comes in and just demolishes you. So you're saying if I take a steak and put it on a grill, I'm a manly man. And if I put it on
in a pan, I'm a woman. And I cut it up into a sandwich.
And anyone listening who isn't involved in it, invested in it ideologically, and just wants the conclusion, just says, yeah, what the hell is that about? That's how, this progressive left and like the new atheists, how they destroyed a lot of the very superficial, right-wing Christian conservatism in the US. Because you are so bloody shallow, no roots on those trees.
Let me, you fellas tell me what you think about this. I've been running a couple of things through, especially on the art side. And it seems to be that it is destruction of beauty, destruction of beauty from the world, culture, communion or families. You have isolation. The result of it becomes more and more isolation, and the more everybody's isolated, the less we kind of lose what makes us human.
Yes, I think so. I think Aristotle said the only people who can live on their own you'd have to be a god or a monster.
That's part of the goal of the trauma contagion, was to force this sort of nihilistic internal defeat on every individual through the demonstration of overwhelming darkness and death and gore and all this stuff.
Yeah, but it's everything. It's the delivery to your home to not have to go out. It's the no more Blockbuster because the movie's in your house. It's the no more movie theaters because that's terrible because you're around people. It's this whole shift from communal spaces, the comic book store, the vinyl store, the I'm around people, the community. In every fragment, it leads to you staying at home. You're isolated more and more and more, but a false sense of connectedness because of now how we communicate. But also to keep you in your house, you just make the whole world terrible. Gray buildings, brutalist architecture, all of these things just don't go outside, basically. Stay in your little cage.
And it doesn't take a lot of salesmanship either, because it's so convenient.
It is all about convenience. Because that's the mechanism that allows you to digest it.
The ugly church, not church, but building of any sort, is much cheaper. I saw some British guy talk about this exact topic, and he talks about the Houses of Parliament.
It's a fascination with efficiency.
Yes, but he was talking about the Victorians, because the Victorians are truly a very, very interesting case study for a time in the world and how a culture operated. but then he talks about the Houses of Parliament and stuff, and then he's in this gorgeous building, and he continues talking about it, and he says, and you might think this is a museum. This is a sewage processing plant,
Yes, yes.
and it's
And did you see how
gorgeous.
beautiful it was inside? It was
You saw
beautiful.
that, though.
Whoa.
But yes, yes, I
Maybe
know
we
which
can, I'll
video you're
find it
talking
and show
about.
it
Yeah, I
here.
saw it. But it is, Posh, that's what I mean.
Mhm.
I had this argument with somebody the other day, and I'm starting to formulate it quite well, right? The thing is, when
Mhm.
people go with AI and these things, this seems to be now my go-to going with it, is they'll go, but yes, but AI and all of these things. And then I ask them the question, why is efficiency the most important? Why is speed? Why is this efficiency the most important thing to do? And there seems to not really be an answer, because when you boil it down, it seems that the things that are worth the most, whether it's a Lamborghini or a handmade leather bag or something, seems to be the fact not of how quickly it was made. The
Yeah.
value of things has shifted to this obsession with efficiency, as efficiency being the highest value set on most of the things we consume in a materialistic manner.
Yeah.
But that never was the standard. It's what makes us human is not being overly efficient. This over efficiency has led to us kind of
Yes.
degrading as a species.
Yes. I think Peter Hitchens refers to it as a time of instant mashed potatoes.
Well, it removes struggle. It
Right.
removes
So you,
struggling, so you don't improve, because
I
there's no,
sometimes
you
make
get hit a
instant.
little bit and have to heal.
I sometimes make instant mashed potatoes because it's
Yes.
much easier. You have no idea. It,
Yeah.
it reduces the time required to prepare it from about an hour and a half to about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Posh,
Uh,
why would I learn how to play guitar or those fancy instruments you're purchasing if I
yes.
can just use Suno? I can just use Suno. It's way more efficient,
Oh
Posh.
man.
Yep. And
Why would I ever have to
that's
learn
good
an instrument?
for like memes and stuff. Like maybe you want to make like a funny song, so you don't want to overinvest in it. If you really want to go for it, like a Weird Al
No, that's
Yankovic type
lazy.
thing.
You're just advocating laziness now, because I've
I
run this through my
I
own head.
I
You're
I
advocating
do
making it easier.
I do for like throwaway jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
But for example, I've never written anything that I thought was important in Serbian in the Latin
Mm.
script. But if I communicate with people, I just use the English keyboard. There's a way. You
Yes.
have to be Serbian to because you know certain letters have to correspond to others. But if it means something to me, I would never use the Latin script, only the Cyrillic script. But if I'm just, I never used it to make music, but I use like a
Mm.
AI image generator for a meme, like Trump
Yeah.
as Bismarck. You probably saw that
Mm.
one on Instagram. I just I thought I would make it worse, and it would take a lot of time, and it's
No, I'm
just
not even.
a silly
The thing
joke.
is, I'm not even trying to castigate you in this sense. I'm,
I
I'm just
know.
proposing the question of, we can say this. It's kind of this whole cope discussion. I find myself a
Mm.
lot of times running this statement through my head. Am I being a bitch right now?
Oh
And the
yeah.
thing is, because you could sit down for an afternoon and possibly draw something
Mm.
that would maybe even with humor, sometimes it's not the best rendered thing that becomes the funniest. It's sometimes a stupid clunky meme. Look at South Park. It was
Oh
terrible,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it was it but that's also, it comes down to art, right? And what is actually truly creative. You could have done that in an afternoon. It might have taken you an hour longer, but you would have had the time somewhere to do that. And that's why I'm asking, are we
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
just coping a
Is
little
it
bit?
what they call it? Gateway into the
Yes.
problem? Yeah,
Because
I
I've
understand.
because I've done the Suno thing, okay? I have a friend who's also a DJ and everything, and I've had songs made for my stream or things that I could have used, and then I specifically don't do it, and then people pose the argument, and I said, if I do that, I'm not gonna play guitar again. I can play guitar. I used to sing and I used to write. Why don't I just write, sing, and play guitar and
Mm,
not use any of it till I make it myself? And say, no, you're not doing that.
mm.
And now it forces me to have to sit down and do these things just because I feel like you lose the reason you did those things.
Yeah, yeah. I often think of these things like how appreciative we should be that we can listen to classical music,
Yes.
especially classical music, because if you need an orchestra, that's so much logistics.
It's amazing
You
though.
need a mass of well-equipped, highly educated, and trained professionals.
Yes.
So it's not like a little band you can have in a
No.
tavern, right?
Yes.
So the only time even the richest people would hear
Yes.
like Bach or okay, Bach you would hear in church like on the organ, but I mean like
But
Beethoven and Mozart and Tchaikovsky, like the richest of the rich would only be able to hear it every once
I
in a
mean,
while.
Posh, I know you're in Serbia, so I don't exactly know, but I mean there seems to be a thing, but most places do have theaters and things. And I've seen Metallica and Deftones and everybody and had amazing live show experiences with music that I loved. One of the best shows I've ever seen was seeing our Cape Town Circus and
Mhm.
the Cape Town Philharmonic together in a show play. So you're seeing the
Mhm.
circus, but with a real orchestra. It was beautiful. And it's what
Yeah.
you're saying. It wasn't that expensive, dude. It would have been the same thing if I went to the bar and got drunk. So I don't want to even give people that it's like, oh, it's this
Oh no, no.
rich
I'm
person's
saying
thing.
merely I
It's people don't seek it out anymore.
yes, because it's so convenient. I think I'm just mentioning that the convenience of it also applies because it's not only a choice of whether I do it at all. Like, okay, so there's a
Yeah.
Belgrade Philharmonic. Do I go to Belgrade and go to a concert and listen to it?
Yeah,
But
but I
if
mean,
I'm at
sometimes
home and
there's
I
good
just want to have
local.
music to listen to while I wash the dishes, I'm
Yeah.
not going to hire an orchestra for it. But
No.
so you see, there are improvements. Again, that's why it works. It has to give you
Mm.
something. It can't
Yes.
just take away. But I
Well, so it begs the question that of again we of the telos of the situation. So Chris is
Yes.
advocating over and over like it's the point being that it destroys what makes us actually human.
Yes. And
Uh,
the seeking
is the
out
argument
of
you're
it,
making,
right?
yeah?
That's the thing. If I mean, I wouldn't have normally gone like I would go if there's a good band playing, but I would have normally never looked. Well, there's an orchestra playing and it's circus, and to go to the circus and the orchestra combined in one. It's
Yeah.
like most, especially if you're straight or something. Like, oh, that's gay. I don't want to go to. This sounds gay.
Do
It's like,
people
but
have
I
that
went there.
interpretation? Who do you hang out with?
No, well, it's like
No, I
sometimes the
know.
bravado thing is like, why would I do
Yeah, yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
sounds lame. Or go to a theater show.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was,
yeah.
like I said, of all the bands, Rammstein, everybody I've seen that have been fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
That was insane. That
Yeah.
was an insane experience sitting in a real theater, seeing a live orchestra play in front of you. It's something you cannot explain. You won't get it
Yeah.
through
yeah,
speakers.
yeah, you have to
It's about
experience
the
it.
real thing. Yeah,
Yes,
it's amazing.
and things are different on a technical level. We're not talking just about
Yes.
experientially. There's technical reasons for why the acoustics will hit you in one way. Uh,
Yes.
there's
Well, the,
again
the, the, the
community.
architecture is engineered for it.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
But I remember Father Stephen DeYoung talking about this. He said people used to have, like in pagan Rome, they would have like an idol of the familial deity. When it became Christian, that was replaced with an icon corner. Right, that this is where we interact with the with for them the gods, for us, they would be cavorting with demons, but that's all trickery as far as before you
Yes.
get to the gospel and stuff.
Yeah.
But um, then you have an icon corner, and you would pray, but the prayer is still familial, it's communal, right?
Mm.
Or whatever rituals the pagans would have had. That basically became replaced with maybe a radio, because now that's especially again in America with iconoclasm and its Puritan undercurrents that are so far pretty undeterred. But
Mm.
whatever the case, you'd have like a radio, but you'd have one radio. So you. It still is the family would listen to the radio.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Then you get the television, but the price again is so prohibitive that you can have one television set, and that would still be a gathering point. Oh, let's watch this film,
Yes.
etc.
So
But
there,
the TV's
Well, even the
become
consumption of these things, fair point, because now even the consumption is isolated, right?
that's
So
what I
you
was
have your
going
own,
for.
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you have your own little, I
So
have this in my ear, and me and the person next to me, we're not listening to the same thing.
yeah, yeah. Uh, I think it's an interesting side note that does tie in, like, because people's brains are being conditioned to not even be aware that there's a thing to seek.
Well,
Yeah,
You know what I
like
mean?
that's why I mentioned isolation
Yeah.
earlier.
So
Like I
it's not
said,
even so much that they're
destruction of
choosing.
purpose and beauty
Yeah, yeah.
to isolation.
They're not choosing to not seek it. They don't even know that seeking it is a thing.
yeah.
This is
Well,
super
yes.
crazy, dude. And beauty's been replaced with like flashing lights, on a screen that gives a fake rendition of beauty. But so an interesting date idea I just thought of was like download an old radio play and sit in a comfortable room with, your lady and
But you know
you know
what?
what I
But
mean? Like,
but then you become a hipster. Every
oh no.
No, I don't
Everything's
care.
identity based,
Posh,
huh?
no.
Posh, I don't
That
care.
sounds glorious to me.
Yeah.
But I'm a git. That's a
I,
problem. You
I
have
know.
to.
Posh, listen, that doesn't matter. It's the same thing I also said whenever I do a
Calling
bun
it gay.
because of the long hair. No, I said screw the hipsters for taking that. That's
Yeah.
Japanese samurai shit,
Right,
and I
exactly.
refuse to have them have that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think.
I refuse.
Right. So I used to have long hair. I shown Garrett at least the picture of me as a like a reader when I started out, basically like back in high school. I
Yes.
long hair like down half my back and stuff, and people would not be happy. But you would think the religious people would not be happy. That's not a thing here because in Orthodoxy, a
No.
lot of monastics have long hair.
Mm.
But the commies, oh boy, do they hate
Yes.
facial hair and long hair.
Mm.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yes.
because you're some type of westernized capitalist colonial bastard or something.
Right.
Right. Especially here where beards are associated with monarchists and
Yes.
religion. So you can imagine commies not thrilled.
Yes.
The
Right. But
yeah.
I never cared. It was always like, well, I feel like having it, and we're not under a communist regime anymore.
Yeah.
You can
No.
go and sod right off.
Well,
Screw you
I've said
guys,
this
I'm
before.
going
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, but dude, it's one of the reasons I say that I found very interesting is it kind of me having the big mustache and everything happened by accident. I was just isolated for months in a workshop like a hermit working with my hands.
Mm.
I emerged from my hermit cave and just had this thing, waxed it and did all of that. But what I ended up realizing is my personal interaction with, even if it was kids or really old people, I would walk out with a Slipknot shirt like I would normally do, where
Mm.
people kind of ignore you, or you just fade in. And because of the crazy beard and things, kids would start talking to me, their parents, old people would just randomly start having conversations with me. And ultimately, I realized I do it now for other people, and because selfishly it makes my personal interactions with
Mm.
people somehow that combination makes you unthreatening somehow, and people
Yeah.
just start talking to you because they think you have no preconception of being in some kind of, they don't know in which camp to put you,
Mm.
so it you seem approachable.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
how it works, but it really is a thing and very noticeable.
No, that's totally true, dude.
So I'll just slip off to the loo and be
Okay.
right
The
back
Lou.
with you.
I used to be like a punk rocker, and the crazy
Yeah.
hair and the whatever shirts and stuff like that. But like I had people we had a certain attitude about punk rock. When I say we, I mean me and the one guy in my high school. It was a small town
Yeah.
who discovered punk rock with me. And so we kind of made up our own, like, oh, this is what this is. And so we
Yes.
might have that shirt on and then like a long wool jacket from the army surplus store and some boots, whatever. But we were like, we want to be so approachable, so we would stop and help people all the time and do all this stuff. And the look kept away dangerous elements because we looked like thugs at a distance, but it brought everyone else to us. It was super strange, man. But in a certain sense, I don't know why I don't still push on that. You know what I mean?
Well, the
I don't,
thing
I
is,
dropped the worldview that led me to, I'm not a true believer in what I was a true believer in back then. But what you just said makes me think like even cultivating our look in a certain sense might be one of the antidotes to this destruction of beauty and all that.
Not with us three.
no, but as a general sense, it's interesting, dude. It's not for the purpose of kind of peacocking. It's that
No,
wasn't
no,
the
no,
purpose.
no.
What I more realized is just the general like not really caring, because I've also made this argument eventually. If we all go, oh, you shouldn't judge people by how they look. I kind of said, you know what, if somebody does do that, that's fine. I don't really care too much about it. You just stop actually caring about it. It just doesn't become a thing. But you realize the consequence of it seems to be one that is quite positive. And then I was like, I don't care anymore if somebody gives me crap.
Yeah.
And not to mention how much we're being turned into just slobs, right?
Yeah.
No, but you shouldn't do that. Like, dude, it's a lot of effort to bloody have this thing. It's ridiculous. So it's
Oh,
I
not a thing
wouldn't
of
know.
laziness.
I wouldn't know much about effort around facial hair, but
Oh, yes.
but I mean, just being turned into slobs. Oh, if you're a man, you don't wipe your ass. Something like that. Where you gay, you wipe. You
Yeah.
take showers. No, you should never do anything. You just be. Either you're into Warhammer.
Never
Yes, I
never
like
played it.
Warhammer. It's
Okay,
glorious.
you should basically be a Nurgle-like. You should just pass gushing out. That's what I'm,
For
man.
the Emperor.
Or the Emperor. but again, it's always like you hear the types of people who would. That's Rakia.
I wish. I do have some. You know what? I'm gonna go get some rakia though. I'm pretty sick. I'll be right back. That's a good idea.
It's always a good idea. um, mine is upstairs. Can't be bothered, and I have beer. But whatever the case, it's making you lazy. Just these types of like right wingy, at least, influences who are like, oh, you're too well trimmed. You're too this, too that. Obviously, that can come to a point where it's like
Yes.
metrosexual. Usually also goes with a type of hypermasculinity like you find
Yeah.
in Middle Eastern cultures.
Well, I found there's something interesting about this because again, I'm on the weird end of this spectrum because
Mm-hmm.
I actually did like highly feminine makeup, right? I had to study that to do special effects. Well, they tricked me, Posh. Firstly, I will just
Mm-hmm.
admit this. I didn't go there to go do makeup. I just didn't realize that to do monster and zombies and these kind of things, you have to
Mm.
do bridal
Regular.
makeup, fucking extensions, all of these very feminine gay things, eyelashes and all of these things. But what you learn again is just the fundamentals of art, right? Contouring like the girls do
Yes,
to make
yes.
themselves look better. You have to contour a zombie too to look dead. It's just
Yeah.
fundamentals of art
Makes
and
sense.
shadow.
It's
But
gay, but it makes sense.
yes, but now I mean I've when I was my asshole self working on films, I would criticize models on their makeup being shit. And it was glorious because they knew I was the professional, so it actually made them feel really bad. So I had a little bit of a superpower back then, but now I still do it and I criticize because the thing is, it becomes interesting because I can also do all of these things that you are good at spotting when other people do it, but I don't necessarily do it on myself. The beard I'll maintain, but I'm not going to do any of that nonsense because just because you know how to do it doesn't mean you have to do it. But a
Yeah.
lot of the Middle Eastern culture seems to be highly around that, and I've noticed it as well because of just knowing how everything works, whether it's eyebrows, everything. They basically
Yeah,
go do
their
full
beards have to be
facials.
angled and
Yes,
everything is trimmed and proper to
yes,
like an autistic
lined up.
degree,
Yes,
right? Uh, but they're not like feminine cultures in the sense that
No.
they're like women. They're very competitive about. I mean, gays. I know we try to turn them into women, but they tend to work out all the time because obviously they're spiritually ill, and that manifests in certain ways.
Yes.
But you know, they're not just prancing around. A lot of them become pretty hardcore, like with the Spartans, and who got destroyed by the sacred band of Thebes, which was literally 150 gay couples. so,
Yeah.
so, you know, we have these strange ideas and things overlap, like the Tate brothers. Like, look at them. They do think that's a manly man prancing around in
No, I
underwear and
just think
stuff.
it becomes one of these weird societal things where I don't, you it doesn't really being cleanly or maintaining yourself used to be a thing that men took pride in, right? When they wore suits and these kind of things. I
Yes.
don't see why, but this is what I kept saying again. I call it them they're trying to make everything gay because even us as jokes we go,
Mm.
I've had a discussion over if shaking hands is gay because you're holding a man's hand, and I eventually I'm like, we need to stop this. We are proliferating this thing of making everything seem anti-masculine, which is ridiculous.
I think it's part of a wider phenomenon, which is in all of discussions we have today, just trying to toss something into the uh, categorically rejectable. It doesn't matter if it should be there, but if you can frame it as if it were there, that's it. That's on the left and right. Like for the right, everything is socialism and communism and Marxist child arms and etc.
Yeah.
Right, and for the left, everything is fascism. You ask them to define it, they can't for the life of them. But that's what they're doing. People like to have a category that if I can somehow get your position or you yourself to be
Yes.
in that category perceptively, I win, right?
Yes.
Everything is racism, right? So that's been the woke thing for quite a while now,
Yeah.
dying down quite a bit lately, but still thrashing about. And the problem is that that's not good thinking. That's not philosophy
No.
or politics. I mean, in practice it is, but I mean like proper politics
Yes.
or intellectualism. It's just PR battles and nothing else.
Yes. Well, that's the thing, right? I've also seen this because it seemed to be an interesting thing because I was always dirty because I was a laborer basically working with my hands. So I always had, the hands, and I was always covered in crap or plastic or colored paints or things or glitter or some shit from the things we do. It became a very nice juxtaposition to sometimes be able to put on a button-up shirt, put on a tie. I always wear a tie and dress like nicely, right? And it became something you would go somewhere and people would go, oh, why are you overdressed? And it's like, no, because if there's an opportunity to do this, you should have the other polar end of the spectrum, and sometimes do not just always be dirty and a slob. It's nice to
Yeah,
have the two positions.
yeah.
Well,
There's a time and a place.
Yeah.
there was times when I was hitchhiking and living somewhat on the road that I would take kind of better care of my appearance than I do when I just stay at a house all the time. Particularly
Yeah.
because my appearance it wasn't that I looked great, but that my appearance would make a difference with who would stop or if someone would stop and how the interaction
Yeah,
would
yeah,
Oh my
probably.
gosh. Yeah, really seriously, yeah.
Yes.
If you
But it's
look
also
like you were a wild man, probably fewer people would
And the
take
people
you
who
on.
stop when you look fucked up are fucked up people, I will tell you that.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
again.
yeah.
Well, again, that's another interesting thing with what I was saying earlier is you realize as soon as you are dressed well, suit or like not even a suit, but just tie, shirt, you look real. People immediately treat you differently. Immediately, there's a big difference to overall how people treat you. Because I've been, if you wander the world looking like a wild man, don't have the beard nice or any of that, you look kind of homeless and dirty, covered in paint, to where you look clean, everything's groomed, and you're wearing a suit. People treat you completely opposite,
Yeah,
which is interesting.
there's there's a concept called symbolic interactionism,
Yes.
which is we interact through symbols. A lot of that has to do with okay, I've been wearing like spectacles for the last couple of months, and it's permanent. So
Oh, really? You didn't have those before.
You
right,
initially said it like it's
Oh.
a fashion choice, but it's actually necessary.
Yeah,
no.
it's just plastic lens. There's nothing in there.
Yes.
No.
Well, if for nothing else, I wanted to get
That's
like
hipster.
I want to get spectacles. Well, look how thin it is. So it can't be. It has to be very thick
Yes.
Oh, the frame
frames.
itself. Uh-huh.
So, but no, I went to get a checkup because I wanted to buy glasses for like the PC and stuff. Because I have to do a lot of reading as a job now, not just as leisure. So I wanted to, and get a checkup just in case, because I know I have difficulty and have for a long time reading at distance. And turns out it's astigmatism. So yeah, it's and I see in HD now, but no, they have a purpose. But if you wear glasses, people already treat you differently. That's part of symbolic interactionism. Another layer of it would be, what type of glasses do you wear? Are you wearing like those circular ones like John Lennon or something? Are you wearing big framed ones like hipsters? Like you're trying to look, or like a geek would wear, right? When we were growing up, that was the thing. You wear thick glasses because you're a nerd. But then it goes into these ridiculous things, like how people have been dressing for the last 10 at least years is just a shock to me. Like I remember when it became like fashionable to wear brightly colored shoes, like orange or even blue, but like orange shoes,
neon colors.
Yeah. Even those. It's like, what is this nonsense? I've only ever worn black or white shoes, and almost always black shoes. Maybe and brown. Sorry, like that's
Yes.
my entire thing. Like different shapes, and because we have weather here, unlike a lot of places. You have to be prepared for different types of weather, etc., etc. Right? But then I remember it was horrible, like with the Air Jordans. But you were wearing Air Jordans. Like that Balenciaga thing is completely reliant on giving you crap, but it's very expensive crap. So if you wear it, look at me. I'm the guy who doesn't care about stuff. I can still pretend I don't care about stuff. It's been a while now that billionaires dress like, not like slobs, but pretty unintimidatingly, right? They just have like a shirt, right? A turtleneck for Steve Jobs and stuff, if you remember that. And he'd wear a turtlenected sneakers. Oh, I thought billionaires wore top hats. And that's part of symbolic interactionism. It's not always perfidious or something, right? You can wear a cross to indicate you're a Christian. That can be done in defiance of people who would try to frighten you into not wearing one, right? Like in Muslim majority countries and stuff.
Well, dude, when we were in Prizren in Kosovo, this is just a tiny bit of this experience. I mean, tiny bit of the experience you're talking about, but I did feel it. I had an icon. It was about this big, and it was wrapped, not wrapped, but plastic. You could see through it. So you could see what it was. And it was from the specific church where they had tried to chip away, well, which was many churches, but this one specific church where they had tried to chip away at the frescoes. And what's super funny is they could never get it all away. You know what I mean? No matter how much they chipped, they couldn't get rid of it. So I had that icon, which is very specific. If it was a different icon, this is like an icon showing the in a sense, the domination of Christ over their attempts in a way. That now as Christians are there visiting, buying this icon.
Yeah.
And we walk through Prizren, and a couple old Muslim guys, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll turn the icon around so people can't see what it is. And I was like, no, dude, don't do that. Don't act like that,
Yeah.
And so I kept it how it was, not trying to show it off either. Not
just not trying to intentionally.
But I'm not going to hide.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thought, no, that's not what this is. And young people are even unaware mostly of where they are and what's going on as usual. But the couple old Muslim guys gave me some, nasty looks, evil eyes, and
Mm.
this kind of stuff,
The exact opposite for me. So whenever I go and buy an icon, I try not to show it because now I feel like I'm virtue signaling. So if you understand that, so again, in Serbia, it's seen as a very virtue signally to wear like these big crosses on your chest or something. Right? Again, somewhere that might be seen as good and proper, but here you're just a show off. Like,
Yeah.
oh, look how religious I am. Look how big of a cross I'm wearing around my neck or something. Or, you know, so it was the opposite of me. I was trying to not show it so I don't seem like some git, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
show how good and Christian I was.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between where you were and where I was,
Right, 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 right.
like population wise, and what pressures were operating on us.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that is a constant source of query for me. Trying to figure out where am I being a git? Am
I
I
pretty much
showing
keep the cross always under my shirt. It's a
same?
tiny little one. I keep it, I wear it all the time. I'm
Me too.
following Saint Gabriel's of Tbilisi, of Georgia's advice, like
Yep.
never remove it. Uh,
I only remove it when I shower, so
yeah,
I
I
don't
don't even do that at this
damage it.
point. So, but because
Uh,
it's just silver, so there's no problem. But
Mine is wooden.
this is always out on display, and there's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
a few
prayer rope.
moments like, so I was somewhere in Baranya and ended up at a gas station on the way to Draj, which they had a Turkish festival at Draj, and I thought, this is another side note, but how far have we come that you fought the Turks, you got rid of them, and now we're going to celebrate their culture in the place that we, protected from them. Now, okay, the festival was great. It was full of, there was Croats, Serbs, Hungarians. It was really nice, good food and Turkish coffee, whatever. But it
Hmm.
was sort of funny to think of,
Well, I often think of that as we and the Greeks used to be at each other's throats all the time, and now we're like buddies. But actually, the Turks brought us together. So maybe there's something in that. And they get a festival in Draj for that.
yeah.
So
So,
so
so on the
yeah.
way there, we stop at the gas station and we're getting gas, and I see a woman with a red one on. She's working at the cash
Mhm.
register. And then I was like, "Oh, are you?" He got out the hair. I love it. After
took
everything we
took
talked
him
about,
took him
I
two took him two
I
work
don't
days to get.
he was curling the ends and
I don't
stuff.
know.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
the
I need to
curling
go to the
iron.
bathroom quickly.
Anyway, I'm gonna die. So we were at the gas
We
station,
are
and
all going to die, and remember
yeah,
that
yeah,
memento mori.
yes, yes, indeed. So we were. I was at the gas station. Her name was what was it, Maritza or not Maritza, but something, whatever. And I was like, I saw the bracelet, and I was like, "Oh, are you?" Uh, I said it in Serbian, I think, but are you Serbian? Yeah, yeah, I am. And her whole face lit up, and I was like, "Yeah, I belong to your church. I just want to say hi, Bog te blagoslovio, And I showed this, and she grabbed her hand, and she was just so happy. In that
Yeah.
one moment, like I don't know if that has ever happened at her gas station job, maybe, but probably not an American who belongs to Serbia.
Yeah, that would really be an outlier. In
So
Belgrade, probably not as shocking,
sure, sure,
but
sure.
anywhere else would be shocking. Even like
Yeah.
Novi Sad and Niš, that would be a very strange thing to encounter.
So I like it because it's subtle. It's never, no, as far as I know, none of the Croats I know are insulted by it. No one has ever been like, "Oh, this is something."
Yeah, yeah. It's inoffensive in any sense, I think. I mean, they don't do the prayer rope thing and the Jesus prayer, but they do have the rosary, uh, which isn't the same thing. I'm not saying it's the same thing, but it's similar enough that, it's not
Yeah.
something specifically we do and they don't, or vice versa.
Yeah.
it's always weird because my cross is a rosary, so it's obviously Catholic. But then so people think I'm Catholic because I wear it. But the reason I wear it is obviously because of what it is, but also because it's a gift from my mom.
There you go,
So
dude. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
more it's more heirloom type of situation. But obviously I'm like, well, it's still the cross. But now it just becomes an association that a lot of people think I'm Catholic because I wear a rosary.
I mean, it's like
Yeah.
you can just say the uh Gospodi Pomiloi or Lord have mercy, instead
Yeah,
of
you
the
can still
rosary,
do
no
the
problem,
Jesus. I mean, I'd ask my priest before doing that, but
Okay, okay, yeah.
but still, yeah, Serbs would not be offended by a rosary. Now, the way
Yeah.
they pray the rosary doesn't make a lot of sense in our theological
Yes. Well,
system.
I don't obviously I don't use it for any kind of liturgical, or like a
Mm,
practice or anything. It's just because of what it is,
yeah,
to have it and to wear
Sweet
it.
thing
But
from
yeah,
your mom, dude.
yeah,
yeah.
it's nice,
hey,
and it's it's
that's
also a
great.
proper one from Italy. So it's like it's at least it's properly made, or
Hold
at
on, hold
least
on. There's nothing
from.
proper about Catholicism.
Well, yeah, yeah, fair point, fair
I'm
point.
sorry. I'm sorry.
But no, I have to I have
Okay,
to
they
I have to
have good
repair
art,
it though.
Yes, yes. I'm being an
Damn it.
asshole. I'm sorry.
I
proper
have
art.
to. No, I have to repair it now. I was outside fixing a water main late at night, and the cross hooked
Mm.
on a brick. And then when I stood up, it broke. So now I
Mm.
have to
Oh,
now
yeah,
I
yeah.
have to repair it.
Were you
Now,
having?
now, now
Did you
we're
were
in the
you
ship of Theseus
were you were
territory.
you have? Did you happen to have a sinful thought at that same moment or no?
I don't. Maybe I was
Maybe the
probably
Pope
yelling.
is the Bishop of
I was
Holland.
probably
Clap.
yelling because I'm outside digging to the water line to see the meters and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
I was
super
probably cussing
ungrateful.
maybe.
Ungrateful, eh?
Yes.
You'll wish for those hard moments after this is all over, bro.
You see.
Everything in Orthodoxy sounds like a threat.
I know, I know.
Without proper
Are
theological
you are
context.
you threatening me?
I know.
I find your lack of faith disturbing. Um,
Another reference. There we
yeah,
go.
I'm on
Posh, have you
fire.
been watching Star Wars?
Uh, I watched one with my brother like last December. I grew out of it. Sometimes I'll watch like if like a short YouTube short comes up about lore or something maybe. But I'm more of a first of all I'm definitely a Tolkien guy. I'm a more
Mm.
epic fantasy than science fiction. But
Yes,
then if I go for science fiction, I go for Warhammer. It
yes.
fascinates me a lot more. I think it explores things a lot more
I'll,
deeply than Star Wars
well,
does.
the
But,
thing
What
but I
about
is,
still I watched it a lot as a child.
what
That's
about
why I know the
Last
reference.
Crusade? Do you guys like that? Indiana Jones?
is
No?
that the one with the
Nah,
alien with the crystal skulls?
No, not the fucking no, the Holy Grail
not the
one.
Nazis,
Oh,
They're
the
all
melting Nazis.
no, that was
melting
with the
noses.
Ark of
That's
the
the Ark of the
Covenant.
Covenant.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No, the
Oh, the
Last
Holy Grail
Crusade.
is the one with the different cups and stuff.
And apparently there was an argument
Yes.
between Spielberg and Lucas about
Who's
Spielberg
more
said,
Jewish?
yeah, yeah. Well, Spielberg said, no, we're not having the Grail in the film. I refuse. And then Lucas said he'll quit the film if they don't put the Grail in. So I thought it was
Yes.
hilarious that Jews made like a sort of somewhat compelling Christian themed film. I mean, because well, I'm not saying the theology is perfect or anything, but you get to see a scientific materialist forced to accept Christ in order to save his father. You know what I mean? And it's like he has to actually believe. And through all the experiences that lead up to it, he sees like, oh, this has to have been true. Like this actually has to have been true. And then when they didn't follow up on it in the stupid crystal skulls, but on the most recent one, in part 5, they make a little nod. The opening scene for the newest Indiana Jones was like they come in, and on the top of the dresser, there's a picture of Christ, an icon sitting there
Mhm.
on the dresser as they go into his apartment. So it's like showing that they didn't need to put that there. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Why would they frame that
I,
on the? You
no,
know what I mean?
I never got into Indiana Jones, I'm afraid.
Ah,
You might guess from the it took us like 10 guesses to guess the film. But yeah, I can't really go into that.
Oh man, I really enjoyed. I don't know. It gave me an adventurous spirit as a kid. Might have
Mhm.
been just that I was Raiders of the Lost Ark was the first film I ever saw, like period, and it was at a
You
drive-in
know,
movie
if
theater.
I would also say I would probably pick. I mean, the thing is, it's fantasy and sci-fi is so closely connected. But yes, a lot more fantasy is better than a lot of the sci-fi.
Mm. But well, they can overlap massively, and they do quite a
Yeah,
bit
well, like
in
Warhammer
Warhammer.
is pretty much yeah.
It's half
It's
half basically.
What about
yeah.
Willow? Willow? Did you
Don't
guys
know that.
didn't see Willow? Maybe it's before your time. How old are you, Chris?
Me, I'm 35.
35. Okay. You know, neither of you saw Willow. That was with it's a fantasy kind of Lord of the Rings style, Hobbit style.
Okay.
No, not
Val Kilmer.
aware of it.
Wow. Well, maybe somebody
I
in the
think I
chat
know
saw.
about them. I think I know about it, but I haven't. I don't. I can't like recollect if I've seen it or not.
It's very difficult to make good epic fantasy because it's so easy to mess up.
Willow
Right.
was excellent. Maybe that's worth a
I'm
view. I
I'm
might be
trying to
wrong, but
recall because the name sounds familiar.
let's see if
No,
images.
doesn't ring a single bell, I'm afraid.
And it had that
Oh,
little guy.
that
Yeah.
midget does.
Yeah, that famous
The
midget was in
midget.
there.
Wow.
That's the
Obviously,
only thing
Posh
that
is
looks
pro
familiar.
niche.
Yeah, yeah. So it was 1988, so I would have been 11 years old. So it makes sense that I would remember it, that it was kind
Mm.
of like it was epic adventure, uh, all across the world and Val Kilmer and all this stuff. So yeah, it was a nice one. It was a good one. You guys might
Yeah.
like it if you're into the fantasy sci-fi stuff.
The whole Narnia thing, for example, I could never get into because it's so unbalanced as compared to Lord of the Rings.
It's gay
And,
propaganda. It's all in
and
the closet.
I mean, uh, C.S. Lewis, it's the closet.
It never comes out
C.S.
the closet,
Lewis,
Posh.
C.S. Lewis is a great writer, but that's not exactly impressive to me.
We had to read The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe in school, in
Yes.
like elementary school or middle school. Yeah, pretty young for some
Yeah.
reason.
I remember when I was young, people wanted to introduce Harry Potter into the curriculum, and people freaked out. They wanted to make us all Satanists or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
No.
But
Lord of the Rings will do fine, thank you.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the problem is it was supposed to be for younger children, and then again, we got to Dostoevsky in like high school. Like I don't think anyone is prepared to read Dostoevsky in high school. Um,
No, 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 dude.
I don't think anyone is ever ready to fully read Dostoevsky, but to get something proper out of it, at
That's
least
yeah.
high school, like
That's a
going
form of
low.
trauma contagion there. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like emo music.
it's uh, reading Russian realism is a tedious thing emotionally, like intellectually very stimulating, but it's so dark. It's so like properly miserable.
Yeah, yeah.
Is how I describe it. Like, and I contrast it with like reading Chekhov with reading Edgar Allan Poe.
Camus is also kind of like
Yeah, that's more modern, and I hate Camus. Just to be clear, that Stranger book. When I was studying French, we had to read like 100 times. Sorry, just have to check something.
okay. Might be a poltergeist. I heard some dishes in the background there.
Yeah. Posh is busy mowing his dishes.
Yeah, I love Jim Bob's like hilarious depictions of Serbia.
Posh likes the racism, especially Jim Bob likes the racism, especially if it's against people he knows. But that is the fun kind. That's why
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like my British ones when I have my British friend on. It's the British jokes. The jokes have to just fly.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah,
other
yeah,
way.
yeah.
There's no other way.
I have some Swedish and Norwegian friends, and they were telling me I was trying to identify like because there's jokes, Swedish jokes and Norwegian jokes in Sweden about Norwegians and vice versa.
Yes.
And I asked them, like, can you identify, like, what's the difference between these? And they're like, oh, you just switch Norwegian with Swedish. On all the jokes are the same, but they just
Yes.
change the pronouns.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. They couldn't identify, like, no, we
It's
don't know where
also
that.
it's also like the Eastern European jokes. They can all just go through all the countries. You can just add in nationality as long as it's in that area.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, so where are you now?
I'm in Croatia. I'm
Oh,
in
yes.
uh, a town called Osijek, which is near, let's say it's equidistant between Hungary, Serbia, and Bosnia.
Mm,
So if you look at Croatia on a map, it's like a big C shape.
mm.
And so it's bordered with Hungary on the north, and then Slovenia, a little bit of Italy, uh, and then the whole coastline comes down, and
Okay.
then at the very end of the coastline starts Montenegro.
Hmm.
And yeah, so that's where I joined the church. So I joined the Serbian church here in Croatia, which is also sort of
Mm.
like a contentious situation in a way because they had all the war and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But this region still has a fair amount of Serbs who were born here and grew up here and stayed here.
I say it's sort of like going to Northern Ireland and converting to Catholicism.
Yeah, I mean some of the
That's how it works, basically.
sometimes if they're super wasted, a few people have expressed like, why did you come here and then join that church? Like, why don't you, if you like it here, why don't you join the Catholic Church? And I'm like, that's not what this is about for me. I like my life here and I like the truth. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's the short answer. I'm not gonna if they say, oh, we have this tradition of I don't know whatever some heinous thing. I'm not gonna. I would say, oh, I still like to live here, but I'm not gonna do that thing. Or for example, I don't use certain swear words here that I wouldn't use in English.
Yeah,
For people here, it's totally normal. But when I say them, I'm thinking of what they mean, and I'm like, I don't really ever
that's
say
why
this.
I'm not really tempted to swear in English because I approach it too like intellectually, so to speak. It's not just a series of sounds to express like anger,
Right,
which
but
is
in
how I
Croatia,
experience.
Serbia, yeah, it's like it just
Mm.
flow. Blah 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 blah. It's like it
Yeah,
means nothing. The kids are saying it, but if you say it in English, it's like, why would I be talking about my mom's, area like that? That's crazy.
exactly.
At dinner,
Well, that's
nonetheless.
the
Like what?
thing. I don't understand why the English are such a bunch of twat waffles when it comes to cussing. I don't know. I don't know why it's
Well,
such
the
an
British
issue.
are not so. The British do say
No, the
cunt and all this
British
stuff.
British are very, very. The C word is like good morning. But
Yeah, that's no
Yes.
problem. But yeah, the Americans. I mean, we have our insults and stuff, but it's more like yeah, it's pretty basic, I guess.
no, but you don't go for the C word in America.
No, but
No,
we
they
should
they
steal
have a
man. We should try to
version to
steal
it.
man American swearing. There must be some aspect of it. Maybe it's just that everyone has a gun, so you can just
Yeah,
keep
you
it
don't want
really
to.
simple. You can just
You
say
don't want to insult
fuck
people.
you. And that says so much because of what could happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it's just simplified.
Bastard bitch. Fuck you, bloody.
Yeah, so there's variation. Yeah. Bastard, bitch.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, no. That's I'm doing a meme like two Indians were arguing, and it's like asking AI to do like British insults, and it just
Oh,
jumbles everything up. Like they use bloody as like in a vocative sense.
Yes.
Like calling you, hey you bastard. Like I say, hey you bloody.
oh, they don't say bloody something.
Right.
Ah.
Yeah.
It's like F you, bloody.
Bloody.
I have to send that clip to you later.
Yeah, please do. That's great. Yeah.
Right. Let's not give
Posh.
ourselves too
Uh,
much leeway in swearing.
Yeah.
See, the people in the chat are discovering Posh's voice. Yes,
Oh yeah, here it comes.
Posh needs to read bedtime stories with his voice.
People say that, and I'm thinking, like, why do your children sleep too much? You're trying to traumatize it or something. But yeah, that's always a factor. But after like the first 2 months of jumping on Jim Bob streams, like people accepted it.
The posh voice.
It's still a meme, but now I can talk about stuff and not just do apologia for my voice.
Usually when I do like my war cries, or go a little bit Warhammer or something, and I try and speak proper, I've had people come and do the racism where they're like, "You're doing posh voice." I'm like, "Shut up!
Why are you talking like a Serb?"
Yeah. No, posh is you got one of the famous voices on the internet space, or in our networks, posh.
Yeah. I did do some voice work, but not much.
Do you sing regularly at liturgy? I mean, with the choir or no?
Well, I started off as a reader, as I said, when I was in high school. But our parish grew, and like we got more priests because there's not too many churches. It's like one church is currently operational, the other one is being finished up. So we have multiple priests in one church, right? But then when younger ones come, they would tend to take over like the business of a reader, like reading the epistles themselves and stuff. And I've been summoned recently to join the choir for that reason, because we have people to do the reading thing, and they're actual clergy, and they need some people have moved who were in the bass baritone part of the choir, so they need reinforcement. So I'm being redeployed to the other side of the church.
Yeah.
Posh, you need to convince Jim Bob to go sing at church.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't. He's a great singer. That's crazy. He doesn't, huh?
He also doesn't have much stage fright, does he?
No, he's being a little baby.
Yeah. And that's exactly what he would say to you if you said you wouldn't sing in church.
Did he bring it up at some point on a stream? Did he bring it up on a stream at some point, or no?
No, people have been bringing it up, because I often tune into Jim Bob's stream, so I've seen it brought up a couple of times, and I think he's mentioned that he's thought about it. So that was bad, because now everybody's going to keep bringing it up.
But there's a difference. He used to be in a very small parish, and he moved to a bigger one.
Yeah.
And those tend to have those rows filled.
Yeah, sometimes there can be, it depends which parish. There can be parishes where whoever can kind of sing should go up and sing, and that's it, like.
Yeah, not much of a choice there.
Yeah, and those are beautiful in their own way, even if it's totally off key. There's something beautiful when that happens. But and then there's ones where sometimes people are encouraged not to sing if there's a real proper choir going on and people are singing off key in the crowd,
Yeah. So we've got a choir, but it's not very fun to like sing in church. You get so obsessed over not making a mistake. I'm not going to mess up the divine liturgy. So
but that's like that's sort of a wrong way of thinking too. I ran into that. I mean, I've been singing at the church choir now for, I don't know now, a few months at least, but I pay the woman to teach me on like once a week and work on the voice and practice specifics and all that, and then go and then. I really enjoy it, but also there's something where it's like,
you should just use Sonar. It's way less effort. It's more efficient.
But there's something you miss by not being out in the congregation too, because we're standing up, up there.
Yeah,
so other focus. And then occasionally some of the choir people, like when the priest is talking at the end or different times, are kind of like, oh, our job is done, and they start talking amongst themselves, So I try to stay on one end of it. I'm not going to correct them either. I don't want to go down that road either. If it gets super loud, I'll be like, hey. But I don't want to be the guy like, enforcing anything at that pace,
That's a problem in and of itself.
Yeah.
Because if you start shushing people,
I'm not going
to. Like, who are you?
You don't want to be a shush person.
Yes, the shusher.
The shusher. That person. You always
Yeah,
feel like you want
so
to shh them back.
Leave that to the old ladies. Like,
yeah. I mean, I follow
Yes.
what Father Cosmas said is like, if you notice something and you think it's wrong, just acknowledge in your head that you think it's wrong and then leave it
yeah.
alone. You're going to risk losing your soul otherwise.
You're not participating anymore in if
Yeah.
you're paying attention to what anyone does
Yeah.
as those people are if they're talking. You
Yeah,
know?
and suddenly the gratitude and appreciation of God disappears because now we're looking at errors, supposed
Yeah,
errors.
now you're like now you're the Pharisee and the tax collector.
Yeah. When it's
Look
like,
at me,
oh,
I'm so
I mean,
attentive.
is there really time to be making that correction when it's like, thank you, God, for allowing me to be here in this space yet again. Like I'm overwhelmed with that at times, like how amazing. How did I end up here? Like, wow.
Yeah, and
And
that's quite a story on your end. I was just born into
well, either way, yeah, going through a cult and all that stuff. Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, that's hectic.
it. I've been inoculated since birth from being interested in the occult. I'm interested in an intellectual level, but I never thought about
Yes.
practicing it.
Just like the
Except-
problem about it on the intellectual level is none of it is I get fascinated by it too. I want to hear what this one is about. This seems real dark, And then when you get into it, it's like, this is neither dark nor really cool because it's not based on anything. It's just
Yeah, it's not fascinating as I thought it would be.
retarded again.
Nonsense.
Like,
Yeah,
It's just Dungeons and Dragons with extra steps.
basically. Like, you figure out it's like a magic tree in a video.
no, it's not as cool as Dungeons and Dragons, though. Actually, Dungeons and Dragons is really
No,
fun.
Dungeons
It's
and
like,
Dragons based.
yeah.
Never played it, and sounds like too much trouble for me. but it's an intellectual exercise and it's
Yes.
important to have people who know about these things because there are people who are drawn to the occult.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So I'm happy I didn't do anything to not be like naturally drawn to such topics. So I'm just thankful.
I think it's interesting if you can kind of disseminate the psychological mechanisms at which it operates or why people are drawn to it or how it functions. But more than that, on any kind of interesting level, there isn't much in the sense of if you're going in just pure materialistic or even any metaphysics. It's just a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, but it's like learning law in a video game, as I said. And
It is law.
and it helps to not be interested in it to keep bias out of it, because I see so much, and both of you certainly have seen the same, like people who try to connect things. Like, oh, the Trinity is because they have like 3 gods in the pantheon in Rome and stuff. Like, no, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
Why would you make things more complicated, right?
Well,
but they approach it on a superficial level. They don't try to understand the system. Like, I'm talking specifically about paganism. So they again, that's how you keep it vague, because you get to read in what you want to get out of it at the end of the process.
Well, ultimately, the presupposition is like perennialism or
kind of,
or syncretism, but it's ultimately I'm the arbiter
or just just pure Machiavellian pragmatism and trying to, we stole Christmas and stuff. Like, okay, so you don't know where Christmas comes from, like the Western tradition. We don't have a Christmas tree, like in Serbia and stuff.
But there's the Badniak.
Yes, but that doesn't serve the same purpose.
No, you're right.
Right, because we burn it. Right. So, and that's Christmas Day, not Christmas itself. But yeah, so you have different traditions, but you know how it is. Like, the pagans, they used to like do something with a plant. so now Christmas is pagan.
It just becomes it becomes the adult version of where you have the triangle and the square and the circle and you got to put them in the holes. But just as an adult, and they go, I'm really good at pattern recognition, and you realize that is nothing special. Babies do that. You're not special.
But it's also
doing
that
pattern
famous
recognition and putting meaning behind it.
But that's also that famous video where does it go? It goes into the square hole, and everything goes into the
Yes.
square hole. I
It's the
don't know if
same
you've
hole.
seen it.
You just throw it
Yeah,
all through the
yeah,
circle.
because all of the other shapes can be just twisted into the square hole. And I'm kind
Yes.
of thinking you're more doing that. You're not even trying to follow, like putting the shapes through the shape hole, just finding a cheat code around it.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
So the things are so shallow again. I think that's the biggest problem because if you're not rooted, you can be tossed about, and I think a lot of people are in that position. I'm not expecting anyone to be some type of scholar of the esoteric or some grand theologian, but I think one of the biggest things Jay has done is just promote basic epistemology.
Yeah.
So you don't need to get extremely deep into things. Just have some basics about you, right? Basic epistemology. You need basic logic, and it will get you very far.
Yeah,
Instead of
it's
just reading into things
well,
what you want.
over intellectualization. I've also had these arguments with people about why is it necessary that you are overly educated or any of these things? Because at the end of the day, you could just be a farmer living a very fulfilling life with a family and children.
Mm-hmm.
If you ultimately boil it down to why, there's no actual why this intellectual endeavor is necessary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not a claim of whether it's good or not, but necessary. You can't really prove that it isn't really necessary in any
No,
instance, and especially not to have a good or fulfilling life.
Well, that's where that Gnostic point of view comes in, is they believe, or there's an underlying assumption that if you accumulate enough information, at one point there's going to be this great awakening or enlightenment or some crap.
It just
yeah,
makes you
Something's
more
going to happen.
sad. It just
Super
makes you more
sad. Yeah.
sad because the more you
Yeah.
know, the more you realize you don't know a lot. So it's just an endless
yeah,
endeavor
but
of sadness.
that's presupposing you do it honestly. And
Yeah.
when I say honestly, I don't even mean intentionally deceiving
Yes.
yourself, into delusions of grandeur.
Mm.
That's I think a much bigger, more present threat than just rubbing your hands and scheming and stuff, because then you're playing against yourself if you're
Fable.
self-deluded. But that's also like bias is the biggest obstacle to seeking truth.
Yeah.
But I can't remember, was it Saint Athanasius who said, I think it was him, uh, that intellectual pursuits should only be followed as long as they help the spiritual pursuits.
Yes, it's like you don't need to know about all the new dildos coming out or what you can shove up your bum. That information, you would technically be learning things, but I don't know how
Yeah,
much
but
virtue or benefit you're gonna gain from that kind of knowledge.
I don't think he meant that type of knowledge. Probably not. I think he meant just philosophical pursuits.
Well, for the
Like they're
sake of
not.
absurdity, you get what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying. Yeah.
understand. Reductio ad absurdum. So,
I mean, yeah, I wonder too, like I know I did a deep dive into specifically about the chemical imbalance lie.
mm,
I won't even call it theory. It doesn't even deserve that, but turns out it was completely made up. It was actually like an inference that was just suggested, and then the big pharma ran with it, and then it pushed the development of the DSM, the diagnostic manual,
mm,
and it was in their monetary interest to
yes,
fund the addition of more and more disorders, because every
of
new
course.
disorder could have a new drug, and they still don't know how the drugs work. It's so here's what's so diabolic. They could have used placebos for these things or something mild, but
Sometimes they
they
did.
sometimes they did, and it's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, fine, but they use stuff sometimes now that's harder than street drugs, that leads to
Well, the
suicide,
thing
leads to
is,
worse depression, and tell
well,
people
the
they need
thing
to
is,
be on it for the rest of their life, and people
if
are
you
still
if
repeating it. Like,
if you understand how remember it's a business, right? A lot of these things you have to deduce it down to its rawest form, and ultimately it's a business. So with the business saying we give you something and then it might cause an effect that we have another thing to sell you to fix that
Yes.
might cause an effect, it benefits them. So
right.
it's
Yes.
not in the sense of that is a mechanism built into a functional profit generating system for that business.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think that would develop in even a guild-based, even a complex barter system. I don't think it would develop along those same lines. Do you think it would?
Well, we are talking about such different levels of technology.
I know. You
Yes.
have to
So
just kill the
you,
people who try to.
yeah,
Well,
but what I mean
well,
is,
the thing is with bartering, it would be something that each person could accumulate or create, or farming, or these things where it's, with pharmaceuticals, like Posh says, it's a very niche down, monopolized
Yeah,
system
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
requires a lot of
and they
money behind
branch
it.
out into even niche things.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yes.
but again, pharmaceuticals are useful, but so easy to misuse because how
Yes.
are you going to prove you don't need it? They put you as a Pascal's wager every time, right?
Yeah, no, if
Uh,
you look in US, like misprescribed deaths from misprescribed, whatever, malprescribed, whatever, wrongly prescribed drugs. It's
yeah,
like insane number.
Yes.
yes, and um, I think that it's fascinating how you have like a the commentariat, right-wing commentariat in America. We're all for just private healthcare and stuff. That's better. What do you want the government to do it and stuff? Like, okay, uh, you're telling me the profit motive is going to lead
Yes.
us into better healthcare. You
Better. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that's I think that's even more naive than trusting the government
Pretty
because the
naive.
government at least theoretically has a vested interest in getting you
Well,
keeping you at some level of health.
it's
Yeah.
antithetical to the business model to say we're going
Yes.
to cause an end result that requires you to not need our business anymore. That sounds
Yep.
terrible. That sounds completely antithetical
Yeah,
to the business model.
it's a basic thing. If you pay someone to paint your house,
Yes.
would you prefer to pay them by the hour or by unit of surface measure?
Yes.
So if I pay them by the hour, every incentive is to slack around.
Yep.
Yes.
But if you pay them by a unit of surface, like
Yes.
their incentive is to do it as quickly and efficiently as
As
possible
quickly as possible. Yes.
because they can move on to the next one and get paid for that, right?
Correct.
So, and even then, you have, I think Ben Shapiro
Well,
said,
that's where government intervention would make a lot of sense, which then you need a government with a proper telos and worldview.
yeah,
But then
but
you would
that,
say, like, fuck you, big pharma, and then start to regulate on different terms.
I understand, but the thing is, I've even heard, I think Ben Shapiro say that mental health, you can make an argument should be government run because there's just no profit incentive to make better drugs. And like, what does it
Dude.
make better? Like the only ones who actually have, you could say, proper profit motives, that is broadly pharmaceutical, is some supplements and makeup,
Yes.
like the cosmetic industry, which is a
Well, that's not
pharmaceutical.
pharmaceutical. Cosmetics is.
It is. If you go and study, you have to study cosmetic because
Yeah.
guess what? There's a lot of chemicals in there, and you have to make sure they treat the skin well. They treat all the others. I had to get for my
more
lower
chemistry,
degree.
not pharmaceuticals.
No.
No, but because of the chemicals in the
yes,
in
a lot
the
of it
makeup,
is
then the pharmacist has to be aware of the, for example,
right.
combinations and this type of
So
stuff.
you need medical knowledge to, like, obviously a pharmacist would have less knowledge than a MD, a regular MD, but he still needs to be aware.
Probably have more knowledge than MDs at this point.
Sometimes they do,
okay, yeah, that has been degraded greatly, but again, pharmacologists, they have to have a decent knowledge of medicine because all of these pharmaceuticals do things to the body. So their diagnostics would not be nearly as good as like a properly trained MD, but they have to be aware of the consequences of their actions. So what they always say with the drugs, ask your pharmacist, right? Because he's supposed to be the one who knows, right? He can't be your specialist doctor, obviously. But yeah, that's why cosmetology is part of pharmaceuticals. I know it sounds silly, but even like lip balm, you have to make sure it treats the skin well, that it moisturizes, what proportions you use for things. That's all something that a chemist would have done back in the day. It's just very specialized nowadays. So you have entire factories devoted to the things. But yeah, it's why do they? I think cosmetics is just so obvious, you know. Does it actually make your lips more luscious or not? Right?
Not really.
It's surface level, but it's an important psychological marker. So they
Yes.
have a motive to make it look better because that's the point. Make it look better and make it cheaper, so you'd buy it. But then you get into psychiatry. What are you going to do? Have a lunatic and possibly a
Yeah, but it
worse
also
lunatic in
it's
the
also what your
psychiatrist.
yes, but it's also what your determination on it makes it better, right? Because I could say functionally, my rusted car panel, I put some paint over it, so on a it looks functionally better. It doesn't really mean that it has solved any problem or done anything of measurable functionally making
Yeah,
it
yeah.
better in
There's
a way.
also
It's
that.
still rusting and deteriorating at the bottom.
Okay, but
It's not really solving the
cosmetology
problem, it's
doesn't.
masking it.
What you said, like rusted, like floor or something. Yeah, but that's cosmetology doesn't concern itself with fixing it,
Yes.
just covering
No,
it.
yes.
So
No.
the actual the other doctors, like a dermatologist, would have to deal with fixing your skin.
Yes.
Maybe he would have to tell you you can't use these products because they can damage your skin if you have some specific condition for it. But if it's just about glazing over stuff and contouring and
Yeah, well, its ultimate
emphasizing,
purpose is just masking and
yeah,
appearing
it's
better.
not
Yeah.
there to heal. So it can have a profit motive, and if it's an irritant and it causes people to get what do they call them, like zits and blood and blisters or rashes or something, that can easily be ascertained.
Yes.
Now, historically, lead was used in a lot of in a lot of make. Lead is turning out to be like the villain throughout the stream. Um, but so there's always a problem there. But that's, you can't again blame people in ye olden days for not understanding that. That's a very sophisticated thing to know how to diagnose. It takes a lot of study and stuff. But
Yeah.
again, it's the surface level things work. The moment you get very technical, like we said the with mental health or even like with
Yes.
cancers and stuff, like things are too technical and too risky.
Well, yeah,
You have a
that
question
ultimately
the
becomes your
orthodoxy.
placebo.
Right. But you have, we have seen with recent events over the past couple of years, we have seen that a lot of it isn't doing well. But how much do you wish to expand that? Does it mean my aspirin doesn't work? My cough syrup doesn't work?
No,
Right?
those
You
things
never,
do
now you don't
function
know where to
correctly.
draw the line, and
But see,
everyone.
that's not cosmetics. Those
No.
are
I said we were
yes.
back in proper
Yeah.
medicine.
Yeah.
So then that's how they keep you in line. Like, we can all sit here and like, oh, if I had cancer, I'd cure it with ginger. All right. But if you actually got diagnosed, or someone you loved got diagnosed,
Yeah,
would you?
you would use pharmaceuticals
Would you go to chemo or radiation
to
therapy?
chemo.
You probably would. And because that's when we go from the theoretical to the practical, and boy, do a lot of conspiracy theorists fold on the level of the practical.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very happy topics tonight.
Very, yes. Well, yeah, when we get to the cancer portion, that's when we might as well whip
Uh,
out the balloon animals at that point.
yeah, it is. Start
But there
playing
is still
happy music.
there are suppressed cancer treatments, and things.
You definitely will. Oops. I have to go and turn off the oven. Be right back.
Okay. Thought Posh was getting a late night phone call. I was kind of surprised.
Yes, no, he's busy making a Serbian goose in the oven. Yeah. No,
Very nice.
it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I don't know. With yeah, I mean, we delving into a whole conversation on pharmacology is going to be a whole other barrel of kittens there.
Right.
Yeah. No, but yes, ultimately it is interesting. Well, what's funny is there's a lot of small fixes when you specifically speak about overall health. There's small things that would contribute to people being overall a lot healthier that completely ignores any kind of pharmaceuticals or any kind of necessity for those things.
Yeah.
Um,
Just simple things, most people, if you just ask them, are you eating proper real food, avoiding seed
yeah.
oils, sugar? Are you
Right.
getting sunshine and drinking water? Most of
Right.
those, they'll be like, no. You go, well,
Yes.
that's going to solve a lot of the problems right there.
Yeah, yeah. People don't
And
know
exercise.
how much depression could be cured with exercise, regular exercise. I'm not
I
talking about
think I
going
think
and
the equivalent
pumping in the
is like
gym.
40%. It's about 40% more effective than SSRIs.
Oh yeah.
Well, the whole serotonin approach is being abandoned. Like even in mainstream publications,
Yes.
like
It was
it's
bullshit from the
on the
start. That's what
ropes.
I mentioned. It was, yeah, it was
Exactly.
bullshit from the beginning.
Mm.
But again, how do you make? I can't remember where it was where they introduced like nutritionists as like a doctor position,
Hmm.
Yeah.
which I think is brilliant.
Idiots.
Like,
No,
I think
well,
they have that
it
in US.
depends
You can
which
get a doctor of
nutritionist, because some of
nutrition.
them are fools.
Yeah. Of
well,
course.
that's the thing with nutritionism. It's so schizophrenic.
Yes.
Like
It almost
obviously,
becomes soft science at that point with a lot of what it really ends up being with the nutritionists and that,
yeah. But
or
again,
dietitians.
yes, my mother. I remember she told me um, when she had my brother and myself. You had one book that would tell you you have to give a newborn at least a bit of water. Like even if just take a spoon and just force it,
Yeah.
like a bit of water. And then you have a book that says you mustn't give them water under any circumstance. So what do you
Yeah.
go with? Right, and
Well, I
both written
mean,
by MDs. So nutritionism, I think, is very important, but you don't know where to
well,
place the
it's
flag
become,
because
well,
no one
Posh,
does actual studies. All the
well,
studies
that's
are
the thing. It's become dogmatic. That's the problem. It's almost also become this thing of almost politicized or dogmatic in some kind of
uh,
way,
I'm not
or
sure.
or
Just to be
paid
clear,
for.
that one. I don't think it's dogmatic. I think people are very receptive to saying, "Hey, it was the sugars, not the fats, that made us all
Yes.
fat." Well, turns out eggs don't increase the bad cholesterol, right? So people are receptive to such things. The problem is, it's as I said, schizophrenic. The second thing is, a lot of the studies are funded by big pharma. Not big pharma, big
The
agro.
companies that are, oh yeah, big ag.
Yeah. So yeah, like the food pyramid wasn't made
Well,
by
people have a
health
very
department. The
big
the
fundamental misconception about how farming and food works. I also had a whole discussion about that
it
because most
appears
people
in the
don't
store.
understand. They're very interconnected. And somebody said, oh, the evil government. And I said, listen, yeah, one thing that you guys don't understand is, do you understand what a big problem it is if a country runs out of grain or food? There's a reason the government are highly involved with the farmers, because it's very important. It's not a joke if something goes wrong there.
Yeah.
So you can give them crap for it, but in one essence, there needs to be a watchful eye over these things because it's very, very important. No food means no humans.
Yep. So even if you run out of fuel, you can still survive, right?
Yes,
I mean, fuel in the sense of
but food and
petrol and
water,
gas.
it's over.
Well, yeah, it's done. Like you will just
It's
die.
done. It's
You
done,
can't
and
even
there will be
remain
famine and
stationary and
people
ration.
and chaos. I mean, we know how famines go. It's not a good situation
Oh
with
yeah,
what
and
it
people
does to the
don't just die
humans.
quietly.
No, no.
That's one of
So
my favorite aspects of like zombie scenarios, like when you
Yes.
go into the human psychology of it. That's something that I'm reminded of. Like, what you think everyone just grouped together? Let's go, lads, for humanity. Like, no, you need the God
No.
Emperor.
No, yes, the fundamental currency becomes bullets, water, food, and
Medicine.
well, trades and skills. Skills.
Oh
Can you
yeah,
do electrical? Are you a doctor? Are you an engineer? That bullets, firearms, food, and water. That's what becomes important, and fuel,
Yeah.
because
yeah,
fuel generates electricity. That's the currency. Gold doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
None of these things, your paintings mean nothing to us when
yeah.
we get to that point.
Yeah.
It shows that how far we have fallen civilizationally. That we have everything in excess as compared to previous generations, and
Yes,
everything just looks worse. So, as you said, like aesthetics are always important, but less important in survival situations than they
yes.
are in situations of comfort.
I mean, there are
So,
some
Yeah,
soft
modernity is
skills,
different.
some
Yeah.
soft skills there too, like brutality and negotiation,
oh yeah,
right?
but that we can attribute to like we're
Right.
turning things into an RPG, right? but uh,
Fill out those
but
parts of the tree.
yeah, skill tree check. But the problem is we have all the resources and we just waste them on ugly things when people who weren't as comfortable as us invested in like these churches, cathedrals, like castles, and they beautified things because they
Well,
knew that
yeah.
was important,
Comes
right?
back to beauty and society and
Yes,
culture.
when people come to Europe, what do they seek out most? There's not as much
Beauty.
natural beauty as you would find even in the US, probably, right?
It's
Because
human beauty.
there's you go to look at the churches and the castles, the old things, right? Even back from Rome, like people go to the
Yes.
Colosseum, it looks disgusting, right? It's just a dilapidated circle of stone, but it carries such weight, such gravitas
Yes.
because of what it is and when it was constructed. Not for the
Yes.
best of intentions,
Yeah.
granted, but I mean historically how much it means. But
Well, it seems the
you didn't
importance was
go.
understood.
Hmm?
The importance of these things were understood. That's why.
Yes.
There would have to be a functional reason for these things. People don't just do things without it being, in some ways, a necessity, right? So these things serve a functional purpose, which seems we've lost the understanding of that in modernity. And it's these second and third order effects of these
Yeah.
things where it might not economically, like I said again, in the terms of our modern mindset of efficiency, it doesn't make sense, or economically, but it's the second order, third order effects of these things that's dragged society forward to where we are now, and it's that's being discarded for some reason.
Yes. So just make it as it can be as flimsy as it and ugly as it can be, but make it cheap and just make it do the job, like bare
Yes.
minimum completion of its intended task. And as you said, like no, like second order thinking. We're so far from the second order
Yeah.
that
Well,
let alone any higher forms of planning, right?
well,
Because I think you can't really have that, not with capitalism and not with democracy.
well,
Yeah. Yeah.
when you're functioning off of immediate gratification, like again, efficiency of immediate gratification. Now this is where we end up.
Well, yeah. You know, as I said, one of the biggest reasons you get a deep state is because if you have like a parliamentary system, I'm not sure we could call the American system technically parliamentary, but you know,
Yeah,
that's getting a bit into the weeds of it. But
yeah,
you do have a democratic aspect to it, and you have these term limits, not term limits, but terms
Yeah.
and term limits.
Yeah.
But these all affect how far into the future you think.
Yeah.
Because let's say, like in the US, you have the Senate is for 6 years, I believe. The House is 2 years, presidency 4 years. Hmm?
Oh
I think
no,
so.
sorry. I carry on. I'm just gonna move away
Okay.
quick.
So you have like a term. So what do you do in that term? Like you're going to have to do something that gets you re-elected. But a lot of very serious projects take years and years, right? Organizing infrastructure, creating factories, right? We talked about Trump, like he got a lot of people around the world to invest in the US. It's going to take time for factories to be rebuilt or old ones repurposed.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, we agreed and, well, this isn't an RPG game, but it's like a real-time strategy. You click on a building, place it if it's green, you can't place it if it's red, and then it starts have like peasants hit it with a hammer, and there you go.
Yeah. No, I know it's well, and I don't even pay much attention anymore to
Mhm.
the local or I mean I don't know any of the politics stuff. I have enough to focus on with the church and with
Yeah,
trying to stay alive, pay the rent, and these basics.
I know. Well, for me, it's also now part of my job to be well aware of things like this. But it's just we're looking at incentive structures. So all the great buildings and historical monuments, which were extraordinarily sophisticated for their age, like the Cologne Cathedral, like it took hundreds of years to build. Who has foresight nowadays for 10, let alone 100, and then let alone hundreds?
Yeah.
And so much detail and time and resources invested in these things. And look at what it is now. Look, I mean, buildings are interchangeable. It's all glass and steel for the big ones. There's no beauty. What they have that sphere. Where was it in It's San Francisco. The sphere that can like put images up. It's just called the sphere. That's why I can't be any more specific. But that's basically it. You created a ball TV, and that, or at least a screen, and you put smiley faces on it and like memes and stuff. Great, great. That's the achievement. We can build basically anything we want. We create just widgets, just fun little things to dangle in front of people's faces like keys. Meanwhile, actual houses, actual streets, actual infrastructure looks horrible, and let alone if it functions, you're happy about it even now because it's not built to last. It's built to like, oh, I'm not going to be taking care of this. This is Hans Hermann Hoppe's
No.
argument for monarchy from a libertarian standpoint, because the monarch sees his realm as private property, so he takes care of it better.
You don't like the big ball TV? It's the biggest TV ever, bro.
Yes,
Come on.
and you can go
Radar.
inside, and it's also a TV
Yes.
on the inside.
Yes. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and you can.
This is where we're at with architecture and technology.
Yeah, and I'm saying it's a giant, expensive widget. It's not the Cathedral of Cologne. It's not the Salisbury
No,
Cathedral.
the
It's
Cologne
not.
Cathedral is amazing.
It's one of the most impressive things ever built.
100%, yes.
Much more impressive than some other, ancient world wonders, in my opinion.
100%.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab some medicine, and then I guess maybe we start winding it down.
Yeah.
Just take your time. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Just gonna grab some medicine.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll black pill people.
Yes, make everybody sad before they have to go out into the nether realms of the
Exactly. And it's already past midnight here, so they have to be awake for more. We can just go to sleep.
Posh, I'm in Wakanda, so I'm ahead of you in time.
Are you? How much?
Yes, it's 1 a.m.
I'm Central European.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's 1 a.m. here.
Yeah, you are ahead of me in the sense you're more to the east. Because it's midnight for me. Midnight 15. Midnight. So okay, so you can sleep even sounder, while our Western listeners
Friends.
they have to spend a couple of hours moaning about how everything is disgusting.
Yeah, I usually my sleeping schedule and patterns have been a bit kind of structured towards my American friends, especially
Mm.
if you do streams and you're in this space, gotta play when they're awake, unfortunately. So it doesn't do much for me having a functional South African day.
I'm in a similar situation, working for the Crucible and stuff. So I have to
Yes,
be at least somewhat aware. And I've usually, very rarely have I had to like overstay to really late. It happened a couple of
yes.
times. So, but then you also have
Well,
a
to
feeling I
help
better
well, I
stay up
guess.
at least
Yeah, I mean,
until two.
you're pretty much on retainer. If you need to assist Andrew or something, he's like, "Posh, we're gonna sit and go through this," and then you have
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Well, it's the best job I could have imagined, so I'm not
Yes.
complaining. But
No, no,
so,
no. Yeah.
uh, but yeah, I talked about when I had to jump in for a debate, like with the
Yeah.
Mormons, and I
Oh,
said
yes, yes,
I had to wake up early, load in
yes.
4 tons of wood pellets
Oh,
into the storage room.
yes.
Uh, so and then I didn't get sleep in the afternoon because I'm thinking, hey, I have a bit of prep to do with Andrew and Jim Bob, and then I'm off to
Yeah.
bed.
Yes.
And then we do the prep.
Not the
I
not the
start.
case.
I started having a few beers, and at midnight for me, Andrew tells me I need you to sub.
Yes.
Because he had urgent things to deal with. I was like, oh no. Suppose the tactic changes. Now I have to re-coordinate with Jim Bob.
Yes.
And then I stayed up until 6 or something a.m.
Yeah. No, that's no, dude. Like I'm not complaining at all. It's
Me
it's it's
neither.
definitely nice. I'm more functional at night. In the mornings I wake up, I'm like a mindless zombie. It takes me a couple of hours to turn on my brain.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I'm also more of a night owl. Mm.
Your vampires
I
in
should have
Posh shall
my
Oh
serve
yeah, you need
vampire
the horned
curse.
eyebrows. No.
yeah, like an owl.
Yeah.
For like a keynote.
Poor
Um,
Michael Aquino. He was just an misunderstood owl.
yes, he was a victim of socioeconomic factors. I
So what?
believe.
He ate a
It's
few babies.
Moloch.
That's what owls do. No
Yes,
problem. He was a good soldier. He saved lots of lives, you know.
millions at least.
He's owed he's owed a few children, you know. It was the least the parent could offer their government.
Yeah, when you think about it, the ratio saved to the opposite
Right?
is pretty much in the green. So we're being very ungrateful when we
Yeah,
criticize.
Yes.
I know. I apologize. Please forgive me.
Shout out to Michael.
Oh man, here we go. No. Somebody clip that.
Oh God, no. It, it used to be a lot more fun being a conspiracy theorist because
Yeah, it
half of your
feels
hopes that
mainstream
nothing of
now.
this is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it turns
Yeah.
out it's like, damn it.
Yeah. Now it just feels like it's the normie thing. It's like, oh, everybody's into conspiracies now.
So
Well,
yeah,
yeah, but that's one way. That's one way to discredit actual ones, right?
Yes,
You just flood the
100%.
zone.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, there are a couple of people who might be contributing to that, who become rather
Yes.
popular. Not naming names, but we're definitely seeing a lot of things. I think a lot of the alien stuff was that.
Yes.
yeah, Father Spirit on Bailey did a good breakdown of the alien
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. He's great. But
Yeah.
when we were younger, like you were the crazy person for believing in aliens. Now you're sort
Yes.
of crazy if you don't,
Yeah.
and I don't
It's
like
funny how
that
that
shift.
works.
At least we Orthodox, we get to keep our belief that they're demons, so we're kind of with the third position on the AQ.
Yes, I like that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we're the De Gaulle of the AQ.
functionally, basically, yeah. Well, I don't know. It's I'd rather I like being the weirdo. I like having the non-popular positions. If you know that most of the people are ridiculous, delusional, and slightly retarded, it's good to not agree with most of them on things.
There's
No, there's some solid ones that are just chugging along that you can always rely on to be the weird one, like evolution is a big one. You know, dinosaurs. There's always
yeah. I think there's also a problem. Why it used to be a lot more fun being a conspiracy theorist is because a lot of it would be you had actual people actually dedicated to it and give you like interesting information. And the thing is, when things become more popular, you draw in the normies and also the grifters. It didn't used to be a good grifting gig to get into conspiracies.
Oh yeah, like that dude that Jim Bob debated the numerology, or I mean the gematria guy, like who's selling predictions and this kind of stuff.
But again, it's and now it's even more. I keep wanting to say affordable. I don't mean affordable, profitable.
I wish I would have thought of that back when I was studying Kabbalah. I always was like, what is this for? Why am I?
Yeah, because you would start talking about it and people would call you a gay. Now.
Where was Michael Aquino when I needed guidance?
We know where he was. And you wouldn't want to check. Now it's very profitable. And that sort of ruins it for you. Because it used to be me and my friends who were, oh, do you know about this?
Well, it's the whole in the know, right? It's the secret knowledge.
And now we have people with conspiratorial positions, but then again, shallow, the superficial, and it's just like, oh, it's all like if you're like a left winger, it's all the big corporations, right? And for the right wing, it's all global secret Marxists trying to like, oh, come on. Where are our masked elites in like ritual circles and stuff? Bring back the masked elites. I mean, they never left, but in terms of discussion.
I
so that's why it's sort of ruined it for you, and then you debate other flavors of conspiracy theories, and it's just you mentioned the numerology guy, like it's just ridiculous. And it makes you want to go back to being a normie. It honestly does. It's like, is this what I sound to people?
Yeah, man, I know. I ruined a Thanksgiving dinner once when I thought I had discovered about veganism and all this
famous last words.
Yes.
Yeah, my mom and like she made everything so great, but like there was Worcestershire sauce in like a tiny amount in some sauce, and I made a whole production because of the anchovies in the sauce, and I was like later like, what a dick, man, what was going on there?
Yeah, but you get high off your own flatulence, and that's a very addictive drug.
Yeah.
And
you're
not
talking
short
about
of
taking
supply.
Queef rips, Bosh.
Queef rips. Oh, that's even worse.
that sounds like a South Park joke.
Like ass burgers.
Well, didn't they already do the one where they fart in the glass and then he goes,
I think I remember the one when they go to California.
That's when they. That's the one when they moved to
Kyle and his family moved to San Francisco, I believe, and people would just bend down like unnaturally, and just let one rip and just go.
Right, and then it is like all that behavior generated a cloud of smog.
Yes, smog, like smog.
And then it combined with the cloud of smog from George Clooney's Oscar acceptance.
Yes.
and the two
I
collided
forgot that.
together. And then Cartman went to save him because it was his arch nemesis, and he couldn't live without him.
Yeah. He
South
had
Park.
like the protective helmet.
Yeah.
South Park has always been fantastic. I have to give those dudes credit with their satirical, just overemphasizing society and making it ridiculous.
Oh,
Yeah, great hyperbole on their
so
end.
much
Yes.
fun. Yeah.
What's ridiculous about checking squirrels at a person for buying a blender?
Oh my god, man. Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, that one's great when Kyle starts taking on everyone's credit card debt, and they
Yes.
report to Randy, who becomes like the leader. I don't know if they say Your Highness, but a young Jew is taking on everyone's debt. Yeah, they're not as good as they were, but yeah, still pretty watchable.
Do you know what's
Lots of good
something
jokes.
interesting? That I've kind of defended them a lot, and what's interesting with what's happening now with South Park is I've kind of stayed a little bit up to date, but I mean it could be better. But it seems now that a lot of people have commented on how shit it is now, or how overly like political anti-Trump type of situation, and where they kind of broke the fourth wall in the show and said, why isn't things the way it used to be? Like why is this the way it's meant to be now? Where they kind of apologize and hint to the fact that this almost seems like 4D chess that they're playing, as there's a bigger meaning behind what they're doing, and this was purposefully done this way. Which, if they did that, I think they're busy messing with everybody to come to a kind
That's
of
that's
conclusion
what I
ultimately.
expect from comedians.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the worst things I've ever heard about comedy is about punching up. Like, no, comedy is about making people laugh.
Yeah.
Yes.
They can be fart jokes and they can be high level satire.
Yeah.
Comedy is about making people laugh. It's not about punching up or down.
Yeah.
Like, if it's funny, it's funny. That's how I see it. And I expect a comedian to be able to just go into the absurd.
Yeah.
It's one of the transcendental natures that's interesting about humor itself and stand-up comedy. I've said this before when people talk about the writing, because I kind of, like Jim Bob has done many open mic nights, but you realize that the writing is almost actually not important, because you could take a situation that I think we've all encountered in life where you could just pull a funny face and fart at exactly the right time. What is the writing? There is no writing. That's not what makes things funny.
Remember Mr. Bean?
Yes.
He made an entire thing about just...
And I mean, look at some of the greats, even Jim Carrey, a lot of the dudes that just, facial expressions, eyebrows. The timing, it's funny transcends just beyond this kind of well-written joke.
Right. And I agree with the idea that comedy is not an art, it's a craft. And when I first heard that, I thought, that's so correct, right? Because it doesn't work in any situation. Like, if you compose a good musical piece, write a good song, right? Obviously, you can have a technical failure in its execution, but with comedy, it's much more malleable. You have to be much more adaptive. You have to make sure timing works better. You don't just shove a different chord somewhere, for a different audience. Like,
I've found something interesting. I've said this before through kind of my understanding now of it, is that just stand up. No, let's not take comedy, but stand up as its own. What the actual craft and the skill set is being able to, it's hypnotism at some lower degree, because what it comes down to is essentially manipulating the psychology of people in the room and making them feel the way you want them to feel. you're manipulating their emotions, but to the point of them having a good time. You're trying to manipulate them into laughing, or
Yeah, you're guiding their
trying to
whole
guide
experience.
Yeah,
minds.
manipulate maybe sounds sinister.
It sounds sinister in the way I'm putting it, but ultimately
Yeah.
that is what you're doing,
Yeah,
right?
but that can be ascribed to any
Mechanistically.
type of music, can be described like
Yes.
that.
Yeah, the
Yes.
But
term manipulative, I mean, it does have a negative valence in a
Well,
colloquial level, but
if
on
I
a definitional level,
if
it doesn't.
I'm if I manipulate a tree because I'm
Yeah,
turning it into a bonsai, it's not, it's
mhm.
not a sinister thing. It's
exactly.
but I understand how it becomes it's perceived that way, but it's kind of if you're setting up and then the punchline, the hit, you're setting it up, i.e., manipulating the situation or the people's kind of where they're at in their emotional state to
Yeah.
get them into a different emotional state. That is what it is. It's kind of
Yes,
triggering.
yes. It has to
Yeah,
be. Otherwise, there's no oomph to it, and
yeah. But
you
it's not
might
a
be into
bad
some
thing.
type of neo-comedy. Anti-comedy is actually a
But that's
thing
why it's
that
good.
works.
Because even from a religious kind of point, if you look at it through that spectrum, it seems nefarious on its face, but the ultimate intention behind it is for a good purpose. It's not meant to be, this negative thing.
Yeah, and it's
You're using
participative,
this. Yes,
especially stand-up comedy is participative. There's
yes,
heckling, there's
yes,
always adapting to like the room you're in, right? Sometimes it's more rowdy, sometimes it's more quiet, so you need to
yes.
make sure,
But you have to
you fit.
adjust. That's where
Yes.
the skill set comes in, because anybody that's done it understands. I've done the same routine in one room, was horrible. Did
Hmm.
the same routine in another room with different people, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
It comes down to the audience ultimately, because that's like you said, they're active participants in what is occurring in that moment.
Yeah, and that's part of comedy. It's much more malleable. Unlike
Yeah.
you mentioned Slipknot, right? The band. You don't go to a Slipknot concert and like, well, I was expecting more Brian Adams tunes. I got my girlfriend and everything, and
Yes.
I was expecting a romantic evening, and they're shouting about, you know, murder and war and genocide and completely unsatisfied. Like, no, that's not what you can
Yes.
do. Meanwhile, a comedian can do many different aspects of things and adapt, including the punchline, the timing. Everything can work out. That's why I think it's a craft,
Yes.
not an art, because art, I think, is
No,
more
well, a
rigid and
musical
has a different.
instrument, there's one way to play it correctly. The song can be played correctly in this manner, and there's a way in which it can be explained. Comedy does not function in this way.
No.
It cannot really be taught to somebody. There can be some mechanisms taught, but ultimately you can't study to be a great stand-up comedian. You can
No.
maybe study to be a musician that is very skill-wise
Technical.
equipped. It's not to mean you're going to be one of the greats, but the barrier to being highly
Yeah.
proficient is not something that can merely be learned.
And also, you can exercise and be an exemplary performer, but you can't compose.
Hmm.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
For
yes,
comedy, I suppose you could have like a comedic actor who isn't very funny. Like that, I'm not aware of someone who just can't be funny at all. And can be a
yes.
comedic actor. Usually,
Mm.
you can be very funny,
I mean, if
but
The
not be a
Rock
good
can do
comedic
it,
actor.
anybody can do it.
Yeah, but what I mean is, you have lots of performers like pianists who can't compose for the life of them, but they can
Yes,
interpret an existing piece
yes, and read
gorgeously.
music. Well,
Yes,
they
so
have a very, very high skill cap with their functional skill level, or kind of understanding of their instrument and their material.
yep. So there is some improvisation, but nothing that changes things fundamentally because it
No.
becomes a different thing if you
Yeah, well,
change
it's
it.
also the different skill level between, let's say, a session musician that can pick up a guitar, play a song you put in front of them, and a dude that can sit and start playing something that is completely
Hmm.
unique, that is beautiful.
Yep, I can't
These
do
are
that, for
different skill
example.
sets. Yes. Like I know a brilliant guitarist that can do the technical side of copying music,
Yeah.
but his greatest I've ever seen him play is when he's just playing whatever comes to mind. He never
Mm.
writes things down, which is very infuriating, but
But
also
probably
is a
is
high
also part of
level.
it. It's like a
Yeah,
limited
but he's also
edition.
a high level engineer with technical side, but he can't even read, music. But it's just that's how his brain kind of works. He's more on the creative side of the spectrum, not on the technical aspect of it.
I
Cool.
have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
I'm an
I'll wait.
old man.
I'll wait, I'll wait for you to come back and then we'll wrap it up. Nice to finally have a stream with you, Chris, and hang out,
Yes,
talk. And
dude. I'm very grateful that you asked me to come on, man. I appreciate that. I always tell people, if you I'm usually so busy, but if you ask me to come on or come and make an appearance, I will always do my best to come. Especially if you let me know a little bit beforehand, then I'll definitely do everything I can to come and show up.
awesome. Yeah, it's great to hang out with you and Posh. And it had been, excuse me, it had been a long time since I was
Ye-
streaming with him too. We used to do it more frequently, but
Yeah, but I've also haven't had, well, I mean, except for social media, but I haven't been on a panel with Posh also in quite a minute. He's been
yeah.
hiding and working. Purely doing crucible business now. No more time for us and our Jim Bob shenanigans and all of that.
Yeah, I wonder. I know he's doing a great job with that.
Yeah,
But he's more behind the scenes, I suppose. Does he go on with Andrew
yeah.
ever or no?
No, I mean, I don't see everything. Unfortunately, I can't. There's too much things, bro.
There's so much
Especially if
content, dude.
you
It's insane.
Dude, if you know, well, if you're in the space, right? Because there's also the difference is catching up with, or let's call it now, I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but I guess networking in that sense
Right. Oh
of like
man.
catching up with everybody that's around you
Yeah.
and then kind of gaining new information from outside of the circle, right? So you have to
Hmm.
kind of try and balance the networking of, communicating with everybody if you're streaming in the
Hmm.
sphere or in the realm doing the network, but you also for shows, and if you want to keep doing compelling shows, you have to get outside information and kind of bring it in. So with that level of content and debates and things outside that, especially like with me, I want to do the debates and things, but I'm kind of formulating my own arguments for things that are I'm like working through, and it takes some time to get to them. I mean, um, is also something I want to do. So it
Yeah.
does require a lot of time.
Yeah. I mean, it does. I know. When I started doing the research on the psych stuff, it's like an endless chain of rabbit
Yes.
holes. But then
Yeah.
I
Yes.
produced I put it all together and made a long video that maybe 100 people watched, but it's like I wanted to put everything in like highlight form, 2.5 hour video, and then from there I can break down 20 different things from
Yes.
that into like tiny little pieces, and then present the
Yeah.
case from a million different angles over and over and over for that
You see,
specific mission.
the problem with me is I like doing my own thing and not copying other people as an artist. So even when I do Evo, I try and like I've even my last Evo debate with Planet Peterson, Jim Bob said, "Yeah, why don't you use some of my arguments?" And I said, "I'm
Yeah.
specifically not using your arguments
Yeah.
because I want to use
That's
my
that's
own."
not a good trait for a debater.
I know. Then the
I
problem is
know,
like,
but the thing is, why is
yeah,
the path again? My efficiency argument to you, Posh. Why is the
yeah, yeah.
path of least resistance the one I should be taking?
It's not about path of least resistance. I think it's part of, if it's true, it doesn't matter where it comes from. So I don't think it's comparable. Uh,
Yes, but with regards to arguments, there's multiple ways to get to the truth. The path to
yes,
the ultimate answer can be taken in different ways, right? So whether I'm in a church in Serbia or a church in Africa or a church in Alaska, I can still go to ultimately get to the Eastern Orthodox Church, right?
yeah,
So it's I'm just choosing to find my own path through it and not take the path
yeah, yeah.
others have walked.
I'm just saying I love personalizing arguments because
Yes.
to each of us things connect in a different way.
Yeah.
There are arguments I agree with. They're just not compelling to me, so I
Yes.
don't use them. I understand
Well,
that
that's
portion,
important, right?
and I personalize. You know,
Yes.
you want to show errors of sola scriptura and then which thing or why the penal substitutionary atonement system doesn't work, or
Yes.
with Evo, you want to show how an animal is a counter indicator to the possibility of the evolutionary process producing it. Right? You can pick different ones. You
Well,
can pick
yeah,
different
exactly.
aspects, but ultimately, I think a lot of things are technical, and you just follow the technicality before you develop into some, postmodern. Well, it might not make a lot of sense, but it's mine,
Yes, but that's the thing, right? Because ultimately, the thing is, I mean, you also understand this, right? You can always kind of take the
Mhm.
arguments to a moral or religious kind of, or ultimately into, not psych, I want to say psychology, philosophy. There we go. Brain, slow, words, bad. So take it to philosophy, but with there's different approaches, right? You can still get, like I said, to the same answer. The answer doesn't change, right? There is the ultimately a right or a wrong, depending on what the subject matter is. But like, for instance, I did a whole section on just how the replication of fossils work and construction of fossils, articulation, these things, because that's what I used to do, is
Mhm.
replicate things for film. So now that becomes a very nice route where I can start
Yeah,
attacking
yeah.
from that not a lot of people are doing. So now I'm
Listen,
formulating my own
if
thing.
you're leaning into your strengths, I'm all for it.
Yes.
I'm just saying I don't have that idea of someone else uses this argument or came up with it, so I shouldn't.
No.
Uh, I'm not an artist, right? I'm a nerd. Uh,
I'm a nerd too.
I think the difference between us is you're more of an artist than a nerd, and I'm more of a nerd than an artist because I play different instruments.
I only
I
became no
write.
profession. No. Personality wise, I'm always a nerd first. I was a nerd way before I was an artist. Just by skill level, I get paid more for the art side of what I do.
Definitely. No,
Yeah.
not a lot of people will pay you to be just sitting around arguing, unless you're Andrew or Jay or Jimbo,
Yes.
I suppose. But that requires other skill sets to bolster your,
Yes.
your argumentativeness. But still, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I think I lean into efficacy in that regard
Yeah.
because to me that is about truth more than personalization.
But
So if I hear an argument from again Father Stephen DeYoung, who's become like a personal hero of mine over the years, we operate
yes.
on very similar frequencies, but he's much more educated than I am, and
But
also has over 20 years on me. So he's
yeah.
got advantages in all sectors. Um,
But see, you
but
mentioned something very
just to
crucial.
finish,
It's
uh,
yeah.
he when he formulates an argument, I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. If I had his knowledge, I would have made the same argument. So now I
Yes.
have to, reverse engineer his argument back into like
Yes. Well,
attaining the
that always
knowledge.
happens. That always happens. The reverse engineering of those that became before you, you would be a fool not to. That's the importance of tradition in all things, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's not about being novel.
No.
I don't know how much you to look at like Islamic apologia on the internet.
Yes.
It, it's
I
it's
do.
it's too funny not to follow. It's such a
Yes.
train wreck.
Yes.
But their whole thing is trying to be innovative because it's again
Yes.
throwing out snippets and slogans, trying to gain attention.
Well, that's not about truth. That's all
Mentioned what
Exactly.
conspiracy
Islamic
and
apologetics, you
rhetoric.
said?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Uh, it's always about trying to have something that gathers as much attention and makes as much noise. Meanwhile, something like the transcendental argument, that's not fun.
Well, there's no normative authority in Islam, though, is the problem. I mean, part of the problem.
They have it as much as Protestants do, so which is to say very little and very localized, and then maybe like because
Posh is
their
saying it's
system is
terrible.
sorry.
Posh is saying it's terrible.
Yes, that's why I compare it to Protestantism.
Yes.
But their system is meant to have like a caliph,
Yeah.
and he would be, for all intents and purposes, the normative authority,
Right.
even for theological matters, because there's they
No
operate like
separation there. Yeah.
Protestants.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
imams are not priests;
Yeah.
they're not bishops.
Yeah.
They are like pastors are in Protestant, low church Protestantism,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
least, right? So no organizing principles, and it becomes about popularity.
Yeah.
Now, a bishop who is very popular has as much ecclesiastical authority as a bishop no one's ever heard of.
Mm.
That's the difference. Now, obviously, the popular one is going to be more impactful, but they are equal in this hierarchical sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's not a consequentialistic approach to normative authority, right? But it's ridiculous, and like all the intellectually honest ones have had to retreat because so many of their classical talking points have been just reduced to ashes. And the only ones left are these just simpletons, these idiotic loudmouths. And that's why it's falling apart. It's sort of like with Protestantism, like who were the very popular people, the charismatic ones, like someone like
Yes.
Kenneth Copeland, like his charisma. I don't know how anyone finds it attractive,
Yeah.
but he has his charisma,
How does that work?
like the
Yeah,
charisma of a man possessed by a legion of demons. But you know,
yeah,
but
yeah.
otherwise, it's always like they have the speech patterns. Right? If you heard a priest, Orthodox priest, talk like what? Why is he? Why is he giving me intonation? You know,
Yeah, strange intonations.
it sounds like a what do you call it? A recitative, like the half singing.
Resuscitation?
Oh, I don't know the
Oh.
term.
We have a recitative, but damn it.
Reciting.
No, it has a specific thing when it's not singing per se.
Oh, I know what you're
Like
talking
when
about.
priests
Yeah.
are going, Slava Otcu, Synu, Svetemu Duhu, Slavio Veky Vekove Vekova, Amen. Yes. So, right. If his sermon, like his address to the congregation, started sounding like that, you'd be like, what? And did you mix up liturgical books? Right? Meanwhile, they just make a speech to you, right? And because they are the priest, and they're in the vestments, and they're in front of the altar, and they're delivering the sermon. So they don't need to bolster that with theatrics. And that means what's important is the content being delivered. If you have no such authority, the people who listen to you are, if you're shouting about their favorite political issue of the day, your cultural issue of the day, or if you're addressing whatever pet project they're currently embarked on. And I think that's destructive. That's why Protestantism fell apart. I mean, it branched off and then fractured and everything because it relies on charisma. And Islam,
they call it looping or tuning up is one of the terms they use specifically with Protestants. It's not the technical term for the vocal effect.
I wouldn't say my priest is whooping
or tuning up.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Holy Ghost power. Holy Ghost power.
Oh Lord, come quickly. But
it sounds like they're gonna start doing hip hop whenever that happens.
Oh, they are.
It's a long intro. Yeah, and the bass drops.
The things Jim Bob sends me.
Ready for this. Oh Lord, drop that beat.
Jim Bob loves sending me like these crazy Pentecostal things.
Yeah.
And let's not all forget that my flock is big and it keeps getting bigger because Jesus Christ is my.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So rap was part of it in the 90s, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. I can hear it in my head now.
So, hey, it worked. We all remember. We forgot 3 weeks ago what a priest said.
The Christian side hug. Do you remember that YouTube meme? Christian side hug.
No.
Like they're like, give me that Christian side hug, and like something about how the front hug is going to sexualize you, and then they talk about killing people who do the front hug stuff. It's crazy. It's like
Well,
like
well,
gangster rap about the Christian side hug. Yeah,
okay. Interesting approach
yeah.
to
It's like
hugging traditions.
it's reminded me
Well,
of
but
that.
what
Yeah,
what's
anything goes
interesting,
with.
especially the religion and music arguments, it's also something I've been working on for a bit.
Mm,
What's also interesting is a lot of people might dispute this. I mean, I guess especially if you're Orthodox, but I mean, if you think about most of the people that started hip hop, they were Christians. Hip hop is essentially from its roots of storytelling, and a lot of these black rappers were
I mean, like
Christian or
gospel
raised
tradition or
Christian.
something.
It
Yeah.
was a lot of gospel in early hip hop.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure about that. I can't agree or disagree. Never
Well,
was interested in
most of
researching it.
them, whether it's Park or Biggie or any of those guys, they were singing about God in a lot of the stuff, right?
I don't know. Most of the rap I know is
I'm telling you,
from
whether it's like
Grand
Nas or
Theft
these
Auto.
dudes. Yeah. I mean, a lot of them do. That's a very big theme. That's a common occurrence, especially in old hip hop.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, it quickly devolved, though.
No,
Uh,
not you. You can't think about like the stuff in modernity. Remember,
yeah,
initially
fair.
it was basically blues with a bit better rhyming and more upbeat tempo and slightly more
Mm,
aggressive. But its functional equivalent is basically blues, right? It's the story of my life. This is where I'm at.
yeah, it
Ah,
used
yeah,
to be a
yeah, yeah.
lot more
Rhythm and
melodic.
poetry. Yes.
They have like piano samples were very common. They still are, but it's now it seems very, I don't know, empty. It doesn't create really an atmosphere. It's just like part of the beat or something. Uh, but you remember that the way it is.
Oh
I
yeah, and then they
think,
made
Just the
it. They did
way
a
it is.
Tupac version of it
yeah, I
later.
think Tupac
That's just the way
sampled that,
it is. Yeah.
right?
Things
But
are-
it's talking about the ghetto and everything. Now it's all I cap N words and F bitches and okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I don't think we need 20,000 songs about
Well, that's the
it.
thing. It became about singing, singing about it became from a place of almost confession or stories about your life to
Mm.
bragging about degeneracy, which
Yeah.
is interesting because it kind of came from a place of struggle to where now how it got influenced in modernity is to singing about excess.
Yes. And also the pinnacle of music, which was 2010's white girl music. Kesha
No,
and Katy Perry.
dude, you just start doing Backstreet Boys and Spice Girls over.
Yes, let's go.
Oh man.
We can dance
Yeah.
offbeat, all three of us.
Oh yeah. I'll have no
Yeah,
trouble with that. Yeah, I'm not sure I can dance on beat too well, but off beat, no problem.
but yeah,
Absolutely.
no. So
All right, guys. I think we just devolved it there enough to for me
What?
to call it enough. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
racist.
Yeah,
Garrett is racist. We start
yeah,
talking
yeah. We
about the music
mentioned
of the
rap
black
for a
man.
second, and this Somali.
The Somalian,
This
yeah.
is this is a bit of Somali. Seems like a Somali secret agent, though. I'm
Yeah,
Oh
the
smelling
one we
man.
wouldn't expect.
Oh my God, you guys. Oh, I wish I had one of those $8 billion. That would be a nice thing. Uh, or even just a
Yeah.
little piece of it, something for some
Well, you got to
Christmas
chat
dinner.
to your boss. What's that lady's name? Something Khan or what's her name? Yeah, that lady. You need to talk to your boss, Garrett.
Oh, you mean what is her name? Ilhan Omar? Is that
Ilhan
the boss?
Omar.
Ilan Omar. Yeah,
Okay.
that
Okay,
chick.
that's that's who I thought of, but then your attempt at remembering really threw me off.
Listen,
Yeah, yeah.
listen.
I love
I
these
don't,
people because she said Somalia is for Somalis only,
yep.
and there's also a woman in Britain who's from Bangladesh, and this is hilarious for people who know British politics. she stood for, the Americans say ran for, but she stood for a position in the Bangladeshi parliament for the Bangladeshi Nationalist Party.
What?
But in Britain, she's all like, hey, we're all one big happy family,
Oh, yeah.
diversity and stuff. Right, but back home, she's running for the, those damn Hindus, we should just go and deal with them. And then an additional level of funny is that the only like really radical right-wing party in Britain, not sure if it even exists anymore, is the British Nationalist Party. So they have the same acronym, BNP. So the left winger from Bangladesh is running for BNP, sorry. But back in her home country, meanwhile,
You gotta
she's
pee out
left.
the end, Posh. How else would you do it?
Sorry?
NP? You gotta pee out the end. I mean,
Oh,
NP.
Wow.
Sorry, I'm being silly now, so apologies.
It just caught me off guard. Usually I'm the one with the bad puns. You're taking my job, are you, Somali?
No, I make it. Everybody knows I'm way too on the silliness.
Oh yeah,
I focus more on comedic sense and making people feel good. I try not to complain about the problems in the world too much on my own channel.
You bring your garbage here, like yeah.
I have that here. I have a kazoo.
Nice. The kazoo is legendary.
Oh yeah,
it's
so
nice.
fun.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Bosh,
that
if you
advert.
get a vuvuzela, I'm gonna disown you.
A vuvuzela.
It's that African annoying, that trumpet thing that they used here.
I was
Especially
thinking
in
of
the
getting a
World Cup.
didgeridoo. I haven't heard of that.
I have a didgeridoo. Wait, I'll show you.
Nice.
That's traditionally Australian, right? Originally?
Like Aboriginal.
Uh-huh,
Yes.
yeah.
I can do them.
You just do it without the device.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
That looks awesome.
I know he takes bong rips out of that when we're not on stream.
Yeah, and when he releases the smoke, he just
Right.
It's like a whole experience.
Musical instruments. I would never do that.
Oh.
Propaganda and slander being spread here.
The Penguins told me about that, so you know.
Yeah.
The Irish Penguin.
You know what? Crispy needs to stop with the penguin propaganda. The problem is he's been to Cape Town. That's why he's being like this.
Oh, maybe he's based in Madagascar. He's already good at being on an island.
Yes.
So, and Madagascar, who's going to do anything about it? The whole place is a mess. And it's a great place to, start recruiting your penguin army.
No, we got enough penguins here.
Yeah, but they're local ones, right? So he gathers these foreign penguins.
You see, yes.
Penguins of the Madagascar, if you will. He trains them up. And then he can start doing subversive actions over in South Africa for the local penguins to join him.
Let's see.
I was sure his Irish are not English. That sounds very English.
Racism, you guys discriminating against African penguins here. You just want to bring in immigrant penguins. I see how this works.
He's stirring up controversy amongst the penguin population, the native penguins. Divides them and then conquer. That's
so. Are they white or are they black? What's going on with penguins? Or is it about the attitude?
It depends how many baby mamas they have.
Oh man.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
well, if they're from South Africa or here in Africa, they have to be black because they're from Africa. You see, that's how
like the way that you're black.
Africa, you have to be black if you're from Africa. If you're a native,
so you're black.
I'm blacker than a lot of the American black dudes I talk to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It
because you know
seems.
where there's a lot of love between Africans and African Americans.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
just
No.
pure
I've
solidarity.
Dude, I've had to come up. I've had to come up for one of the Africans on a panel because all of the American black dudes were attacking him, and then he took my side too. And they even at one point shifted. They're like, "Why are you on his side?" He was like,
Now
"He's more like me
he's an
than
Uncle
you
Tom.
guys are." No, he said to them straight. He's like, "He's more my brother than you guys are. Fuck you guys." I was like, "Let's go, buddy.
Yeah, because
Africans unite."
Africans have a legendary record of getting along very
No, none of us get along here, especially the local tribes do not get along.
not sure what amount of sarcasm we should have pushed into that statement, but
Yes.
like the whole Rwanda thing. I guess Sudan, there's also like these people who at least see themselves as Arabs, but
Mm.
oh yeah, Sudan is also another place that is just god
No,
awful. But I don't think
yeah,
Trump
no.
can do anything in Sudan. It's too big of a mess.
No, but it's definitely in the darker melanated communities here. There's a lot of xenophobia, and they do not like each other, especially if they're just over the border. They do not. It's tribalism. The
Yeah.
racism is the new word. It's tribalism has always existed, unfortunately.
No, I wouldn't know that being from Eastern Europe.
Yes, no.
What would I know about lack of ethnic solidarity?
Oh, no, Posh. The only thing that matters is skin color. It's
Yeah.
just being ridiculous.
It's impossible to explain to people that that's purely an American concept.
Yes, it's 100% just an American concept.
Yeah. So I don't know what to tell you. Most people who, uh, you know, whom Europeans were warring against were other Europeans, and they don't
Mm.
have a very short memory, and they tend to hate each other over it.
Well, there
And
was a
that's
whole
the same
Barbary
thing.
Pirates thing. Was there any unity against that effort? Was there?
No, because if you're on the other side of the tribunal, hey, you can't, kidnap those people we hate. They're like, piss
Ah,
off, take a couple more.
aha. And then they come
So
for you next, though, right? Yeah.
it could be the case, but they can only operate on the coasts.
Right, right.
So if you're further inland, you don't care.
Were they taking Slavs? Were they taking Croats and Serbs and
Well,
Montenegrins,
Croats didn't
whatever?
exist back
That's why I said let's just say
then.
Slavs and leave it alone for now.
Yeah. People got taken like from Italy, Spain, the Balkans,
Yeah.
kit and caboodle. But anywhere that was vulnerable, take people. But again, like Asians mostly warred with other Asians, right?
Yeah.
And also not a lot of ethnic solidarity with the Asians.
Mm-mm.
Ask the Japanese. Their favorite pastime was going killing other Asians en masse. So that's why I say it's like an American thing. There's no even like Hispanic. They all have their differences and
Oh yeah, the
tensions
Colombians
between.
are different
Yeah.
from the Puerto Ricans, from the Costa Ricans, from the Cubans.
Yeah, and they won't
Mexicans.
appreciate, right? And they won't appreciate being lumped together.
Yeah.
And then
Even though they all speak Mexican, including Spain.
yes. Or you can talk to the Irish about like South and West and East, and I'm not even mentioning the North.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Republic of Ireland per se. Like a lot of tensions historically, like people get in fights out. Oh, you're from 3 towns over, right?
That goes like I remember my dad saying, I'm getting so racist that I'm gonna he's like, when I see Wisconsin license plates, I get pissed off. Get the hell out of here. He said.
I don't know who had the joke. I think it was Kyle Dunnigan. He said, I might be wrong. Sorry if I misattributed. He says, have you been to a place that's so racist, but isolated that they're still angry about the Irish moving in next door? It's old-timey racism, like the Irish need not apply. Not even like skin color comes into play.
Man, I grew up back here in the day. It's always funny when it always gets seen as black and white. But even here, dude, my dad that was Portuguese, he wasn't white. Portuguese and
Yeah.
Italian men weren't white in South
Ah,
Africa
yeah.
either. They were treated as non-white.
I kept talking to people like the English concept of white that got transplanted into America. The Nordics weren't white. They were
Yes.
swarthy,
Yeah.
right? The white people are the English and parts of northwestern Germany, maybe pieces of the Netherlands or something. Like that's what they saw as white. That's
Yeah.
why I say when people say white in the modern sense, that's just purely American like thing they did over there.
I mean,
And it's just
anthropologically, it doesn't hold up even as
well,
an actual
it doesn't,
science.
but also it's a negative category. Like
Yeah.
white people are only united by the fact that they're not like the other races.
But it's like, are Greeks white then? Or like,
Well, that's a big issue
Italians?
for them because they really want the civilizational cred from the Greeks and the Italians,
Uh-huh.
but they're not
Yeah,
shiny enough.
we even had a thing here like a slur, which was they were just lumped together and called the LPGs. So the Lebanese, Portuguese, and Greeks, they were all like one little. They were just like, oh, it's the LPGs. So they were also seen as like the other, the non-white.
Yeah. So that's why it's an unstable category. There's no taxonomy to properly
Well,
like
cannot
you
be a
can have it.
taxonomical.
Right, but you can have it in certain practical terms. It's just not an organizing
But
principle.
it confuses people because then these guys who are obsessed about it, they lose their shit and lose their whole they lose their whole focus on life.
Mm,
Even though Satan, let's just grant that 90% of their assertions are true. Let's just say it's that far even, in that which is not the case, but let's
yeah,
grant
okay.
that. But still their telos ends up being completely lost in like, oh, we need to eradicate or get rid of these specific people. And there's no longer any focus on like
Yes, but I also think is that they half expect things to go back to some type of normal. So they don't think of like the glorious ancestors as if people who had certain drives and their
uh,
own time and place when they where they grew up and how that developed, like religion and historical circumstances that created them, and but even because of even in spite of such factors, they were able to do great things. They
mhm.
sort of expect, well, we're the same type of thing genetically, so if we just get rid of the people who aren't, things will work well. And no, that's not the case.
But part of the darker, not black pill, but let's say bread pill about this situation is normal is just it's such a deceptive concept to
Mm,
begin with because as you mentioned earlier, memento mori, there's nothing normal about this whole situation that we're stuck in.
yeah, it's a fallen world.
Yeah, it's not normal at all. And what we think of as normal is like temporary at best.
Mm. And they also do the whole ideological thing of well, you just weren't strict enough, right?
Well,
S-
normality is also only designated to one kind of coordinate
yes,
location because you move your ass and throw you in a different country. Now your perception of normality is
Yeah,
something
yes,
very, very different.
but
totally.
but but again, the famous thing about like feminism, talking about how women go for certain professions and men into other professions because of social conditioning and patriarchal vestiges of, if not active patriarchal systems, uh, conditioning these children to pick things. And well, the most feminist countries have a bigger disparity than the more traditional ones, like comparing Nordic countries to India. And it's sort of like, well, no one said this was a Jordan Peterson debate, I believe. No one said that Nordic countries were perfect. Yes, no one said that. But if your hypothesis is correct, the more feminist it becomes, and I don't think anyone argues that Sweden is less feminist than India. Uh,
Hmm.
you should expect these things to start, as these factors are removed that are creating this division, they should start to decrease the disparity, but it increases, right? So again, the only responses where we need to double down, right? So you would say, oh, white people make great civilizations. Okay, why do we have this period of England, for example, that's problematic? Obviously, you can just point to like a non well functioning white country and they say, well, that means they're not really, really white. But then you go to other places like Rome, which is less white than England, was so much more developed that it's not even funny, right? So they don't care. They just want to go back to the singular factor that's not very faceted and just say, well, that's when things go to autopilot,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Get rid of this group, things go back on autopilot, everything works well.
Then no more suffering and everything cool.
But but they forget that, like Sweden was pretty much Sweden throughout its history. Not a lot of migration there because it kind of sucks historically, right? Not great
Yeah.
for resources, not great weather, but the people who were there were there. And
Yeah.
they became these softies. So it's not genetics that change.
Yeah.
Something else. They spiritually decay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is what changed, not the genetics. So, of course, we
Yes.
recognize that immigration is a huge problem.
Well, culture is more dependent than genetics would be ultimately.
Yes, because the same people stop being Christian. And you can understand when your option is Lutheran or atheist, like I'd go for.
What the hell do you do in that circumstance? I guess
exactly,
just
right?
leave, go find an Orthodox church somewhere else. Then I don't know. I mean,
But that wasn't an option historically.
I know. What are you meant to do in that? Is there any prescription or anything in the
God will
codex?
judge you according to your circumstances.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
To whom much is given, much will be required from. But it becomes a factor, right? Think of the Bible itself with the northern and southern kingdoms. Like northern kingdom of Israel, after Jeroboam creates this idolatrous system of worship in Bethel and Dan, they become these idolaters. The people there think they're worshiping Yahweh, right? But they're not. And ultimately they collapse. But that's part of, like, you have to have a type of resistance. So if the Reformation comes, as it did, for example, in England, lots of people died trying to defend, like, the Catholic faith as far as they were concerned. And then the Catholics take over and, flips around a bit. Ultimately, they end up with this Anglican nonsense. But you see, it has longer lasting consequences, sort of like ancestral sin, right? They're not guilty and they won't be treated as if they did something personal. But it has consequences, abandoning the faith. And but people don't want in-depth analysis and deep, complicated solutions. They just want something snappy, something effective. Right? It's genetics. Well, explain why their genetics deteriorate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or was it radiation? They just, turns out, like, uranium started spawning around Sweden and they all turned gay or something.
It was Michael Aquino doing retroactive enchantments from the future.
Time traveling pedophiles. But yeah, it's exhausting.
Rainbows.
Oh, you know what? I just remembered it.
Rainbows affecting the skies.
There was a time I had this book. I was in San Francisco, hitchhiking around and stuff. At this point, it was Berkeley, and I had this book. I think I stole the book from a bookstore, and it was some chaos magic thing by Peter Carroll. And I was reading through it, and one of the pages was called Retroactive Enchantment, and it had some physics equation. And I was just sitting there reading
But
it.
that must make it legit.
Yeah, I made it legit at that point. But what was super weird, now I see how demons would work to get you locked into the occult. It's so hilarious to see it from the outside. But on the inside, I'm sitting there at the park, People's Park. There's people all around. There's free food. There's like it's hippie punk paradise. And then weird violent stuff going on too. And this little kid sitting on a blanket with his mom. As I'm reading the book to myself silently, the kid starts saying the equation that I'm looking at on the page. You know, he starts saying, he's tapping a little thing like rhythmically and saying it. And I was like, whoa, this stuff is real, bro. You know, like in my head, any kind of synchronicity back then or coincidence was like affirmative of the thing that I was looking at. It wasn't, you know
Mm.
what I mean? Lucky for me, I think I was protected. God never let any of the stuff, the rituals or the stuff that I did. I mean, I stayed honest and naive for one thing, but never let any of like the wishes with that stuff ever work. I never got anything out of it.
Mm.
And then I was led to this all that body-based stuff that got me the hell out of there, you know. It came crashing down, thankfully. But
You're an anti-Gnostic. You started focusing on the soma only.
yeah, yeah, I went straight. I mean, yeah, I had that. That is it is a way out.
Take that, Gnostic duelists.
Oof. Yeah, thank God for the body too. Yeah. Oof.
Yep. We should really start winding things down. This will
Yeah.
not end. So it was fun.
Super fun, you guys. I love hanging out with both of y'all.
Same,
Yes, it was
same.
nice. I
We
could
can
chat to
repeat
Posh
maybe.
for a long time.
Yeah.
Locked in here.
I hope to have even more instruments next time. But maybe we should agree on a topic. Maybe it will help us be more focused, and we will still veer off. That's
Yeah,
an
we can have
inevitability.
we can have a topic. I'll come up with something and then I'll message you guys. Yeah,
Yeah,
whenever
so
you guys got time, I'd be happy to do it.
You
Yeah.
as fun as
intellectually
it is to banter.
rambunctious rebels just drifting off of topics.
Yeah, the chaos theory of rambling. Chaos epistemology. That sounds like something occultish, and
Yes.
but we're secretly bringing people into the church.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, but it was good, and thank you, Garrett, for having us on, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. We had talked a long time ago about doing it, and then we both kind of lost the thread. So then I thought of you guys, and I mentioned to Pasha I was going to have him come on with Chris, and he thought I meant he said, "Oh, you mean the Frenchman?" And I said, "Oh, you know what? I should ask him too. Since we
Damn
were
it,
talked
Posh,
about
you
it
need to.
before."
When I shared
I
out the
don't know
link,
for how long you calling me French. That propaganda was lingering around.
I never give up on
Come
those
and drop.
things.
You just come and drop these slurs against me, and then
I
they just linger.
I
And
maintained
carry on
those
with your
types of
life.
jokes since childhood, so I never give them up unless they become boring. When I shared out the link, I said, I said I'm talking to an American refugee to Greater Serbia and some French guy. So, yeah.
This is like
Yes, I
late.
see.
This is like late in the stream, so like I'm sure most of my Croat friends aren't going to get here, but if they do, you know, okay, so be it.
No, they're not going to get this far.
No.
All right, lads. That is today. Today is the Lord's Day. Technically, you know,
Yes.
you can argue whether it's today or tomorrow. It's perspective. But
Hey, it's Sunday for all of us up here.
yeah,
Officially.
so
Yeah.
there's things to do in the morning. So we should really sort off
Yeah.
before it starts affecting spiritual life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I hope I make it
No,
to
but
liturgy. I'm feeling really sick tonight.
Oh yeah, then make
Yeah.
sure to cough in the faces of people. So you
I need to get
and
my
tell them if you
vehicle.
don't believe God is here.
What are you, an atheist? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but Father Cosmas said, like, if you think that you can get sick from kissing an icon or taking communion, then
Yeah.
you are an atheist. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
I
never
tend to
stopped
agree.
doing that. No, but it would be so fun to be the proactive side of it, coughing on people.
Yeah, no, but dude, yeah, I need to get my car sorted so I can attend liturgy. It's bothering me now.
Oh, yeah, you
Oh,
mentioned that before. You had the
Because
car issue, so it's help.
yeah,
Church is too far
you know,
away.
if I drive to church, I'm gonna come out and I'm no longer gonna have a vehicle. So yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah.
it's convenient for me. It's like 15 minutes on foot, so I don't even drive, and it lets me
Oh,
air out
that's
my
nice.
thoughts to go there.
Yeah, my drive is about an hour away.
Oh
But
God, yeah,
Yeah.
that's awful.
yeah,
Well,
it's
God
fine.
willing, you'll be able to attend soon.
No, definitely, definitely.
Do you ever put on, have you watched any liturgies like on live streamed on YouTube? Do you ever
Yeah,
check
yeah,
those
yeah.
out?
I'll watch, and when I can, I'll go over to Father Deacon Ananias, or I'll watch stuff as much as I can. For sure, I try to. Can
Yeah.
always be better.
I went back to Minnesota in May. I didn't spot even one Somali, by the way. But I went back to Minnesota in May, and and that was the first time I ever heard the liturgy in English. I went
Oh
to a
yeah,
Russian a Russian church there, and it was glorious. But then some of the songs were done in Slavonic, and I was like,
yeah.
"Yes, I know this."
Probably that's a weird flipperoo. But probably no one felt satisfied with any translation, so they're like, okay, we're doing it in Slavonic for now.
And the priest
Yeah.
was all confused when I came up. When I came up for communion, I said Vasile because that's the
Mhm.
appropriate name for that moment, and then that time. And then at the end when it came up, don't know what that part's called, but when you get the little bread and the kiss the cross in the hand and stuff at the end.
The Naphara.
Aha, yeah. So he said, Christos Voskrese. He was telling everyone else, the Christ is risen. And then he said to me, Christos Voskrese. And I said, Vaistino Voskrese. And then he's like, he said, where are you from? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's a circuitous route to go back.
I was like, look, I'll tell you at the coffee hour. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I said,
that's great.
my main answer was Minnesota. And he was like, okay.
Minnesota,
Yeah.
right?
Minnesota.
And you say Mogadishu.
Mogadishu.
Mogadishu. You're Minnesotan Somali. You the inverse, not a Somali Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
In Somalia.
When I was a kid there, yeah, it was the Ethiopians, but then the Somalis must have taken over. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. It all started with that film, I'm the Captain Now. That's the
Yep.
point. Okay, let's
Okay, guys,
sod
okay,
off.
okay. God bless you guys. See you soon. Huh?
God bless you, lads.
All right. Ciao.